could hide a color in the twinkling of an eye, and then continue onward with that same speed to fly. Do you think that you could ever, through all eternity, find out the generation where gods began to be, or see the
yeah. Look. Whoa. Praise to the man, he spoke the Lord. Yeah. Jesus anointed, prophet adored. Open the gates, last things begun. Kings gonna praise, nations gonna run. Hail to the prophet, up in the sky. Traitors and tyrants, they all gonna try. Mingling with gods, playing with kids. Death can't stop him, he'll rise again. Praise his name, he martyred for truth. Honored and blessed, he showed the proof. Blood that was shed, it comes from above. Earth gonna shout, lauding his love. Praise to the man, he spoke the Lord. Jesus anointed, prophet adored. Open the gates, last things begun. Kings gonna praise, nations gonna run. Hail to the prophet, up in the sky. Traitors and tyrants, they all gonna try. Mingling with gods, playing with kids. Death can't stop him, he'll rise again. Glory is his, brings him high. Keys in his hand, never gonna die. Faithful and true, kingdom awaits. Crown with the prophets, open the gates. Sacrifice brings blessings we know. Earth must atone for the blood, let it flow. Wake up the world, justice in sight. Millions shall know, brother Joseph's light. Praise to the man, he spoke the Lord. Jesus anointed, prophet adored. Open the gates, last things begun. Kings gonna praise, nations gonna run. Hail to
It's monthly Mormon Mondays. It's time for the secret handshake. Tune in and reach through the veil. It's time for monthly Mormon Monday.
It's another, we've got a little banner here. It's another monthly Mormon Monday, and we've got a special guest. It's not just me, Paranoid American, and Heidi Love from Unfiltered Rise, but we've also got Exmo Joe, who has been trying to convert. He's been trying to convert me to Mormonism behind the scenes. You don't know this.
I said, don't say anything. I said, don't say anything.
Joe.
It's all been a ruse. We've almost got Heidi. We're going to claw that Christian back.
So
Back into the
for
satanic
a full
cult.
introduction, I have to say, anyone watching, we have no promo stance on this show. So if you're looking for a promo show, this is a no-go if you're looking for the promo.
That's right.
Where'd Andreas go? Damn it.
We've got I'm the Mamo, we've got an Exmo, and we've got just two Exmos, right? Is that?
Yep.
Do you guys
But an
delineate
atheist
between-
Mo.
Okay.
Exmo.
Is there a special name for being an atheist ex-Mormon versus
Yeah, it's called being
Got
right.
a sign.
Correct. It's correct.
Being right.
It's called being the correct Exmo, and then they have these other Exmos that they're here and they're welcome. You're here and you're welcome, Heidi. That's fine.
Mostly it's just Heidi that's welcome with Joe.
It's true. I mean, they're all welcome. I just get a cold reception on their part. I got mentioned. I got called out. I had to pay for it. I paid $5 to be called out on Mormon radio Ward radio the other night, the former Midnight Mormons. I'm like, I super chatted into them. I'm like, hey, I want to know what your guest. They had one of these women guests who like doubted the church, almost left the church, and then came back. I'm like, yeah. What did she read, and what did she that caused her to doubt the church, and what caused her to come back? And they treated it like it was poison, like every word coming out of their mouth. I'm like, okay, that was a pretty simple, innocent question, you guys. The vinegar that I got over. It's like, okay, I'm
That's
sorry.
That's anti-Mormon propaganda.
That's
Don't
right.
you
Asking
remember,
what did you read that convinced you to look into that the church is stupid and false? And then what did you read that brought you back? It's like, how dare you? How dare you ask a question like that? She still never said what she had read. So
Oh.
maybe she read my book, The Core Horror Argument. Oh, I won't mention those.
But-
This is no promotion.
No, I mean, you can promo all you want. I just meant there's no pro Mormons on the
pro-Mormon.
show. So there's
Oh,
Promo.
okay.
pro Mormon show for anyone tuning in that's like, I want to really have like I guess reinvigorate my whole faith into the Mormon beliefs and Joseph Smith.
Probably won't.
It might be that one. And I'm decent at devil's advocate, but you guys are experts here. So I can't even really play devil's advocate on anything other than like the most superficial of things that come up. So the theme of today's show is Mormon Mafia,
information.
which
It's
seems-
informational. We're not Exmoing it up here. So just for
well,
promos,
you kind of by nature you are.
I'll go light here.
Okay.
Oh,
So
I
the
don't-
Mormon Mafia, is this just a silly term for like a group of violent Mormons, or is there like a legit mafia in the Mormon community?
Well, A, there always was. B, they have different names and functions. And C, the one I focused on was definitely this crazy stuff for Vegas and helped settle Vegas. But there's always been a mafia. We got the Danites, the Brighamites, lots of ites. They like ites.
Yeah, the official. So like before the Vegas stuff, which is where things I think really get interesting. Before that, the Danites were officially the Nauvoo Legion, which for the first in the first 100 years or so of America, they were the largest organized military unit in America, like a standing army. And, they were organized in Illinois under fairly reasonable auspices. They were, felt like they had to protect themselves, the Mormons after the 1838 Mormon War. But that very quickly turned into, wow, we have the largest military organization in the country. We can run Joseph Smith for president of the United States. What are they going to do to stop us? We can do this. And he got charged with treason so many times. Like Missouri tried to try him for treason, and basically the state of Illinois had given him his own army and his own court, and they were like, "Come get him." And it's like nothing, and they couldn't touch him. They couldn't touch him. It's like the Mormons figured out right about then that
I need to see a updated Kamala Harris theme where it's like, we did it, Joe, but it's like she's talking to Joseph Smith.
To Joseph.
Okay, right.
That's hilarious. But actually not hilarious at the same time because she's an idiot. But yeah, for sure. Even she's worse than Joe.
Disagree. I think Trump's an idiot, but more important,
I think they're all idiots. Remember?
the more relevant
like
idiot.
I
either.
like them both. I want
either.
them both to be president. How about that?
I'm anti all of it. I'm
I
an
thought-
anti.
I'm
everything.
for all
I
of
thought
it.
you went hard, paranoid American. I thought that you like had the true stances, man. Now I doubt.
Oh,
No,
you wanna go toe for toe? No, go ahead.
I'm an anarchist. Be an anarchist.
One of the interesting things that interestingly brings this whole Mormon Mafia thing into the current election cycle, and really current, is that, well, of course, was it yesterday or the day before? What are we calling this Monday? And even though it's today,
No.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no.
Whatever.
It's just
Okay.
something that happened.
but wasn't yesterday officially Robert F. Kennedy Jr. dropped out of the race and endorsed Trump, right?
That was the
And
brain
that-
worm, actually.
Friends.
I've heard.
That was the brain worm
They
was
were
speaking.
friends.
Yeah.
I think it may have been actually. It's either the brain worm or the drugs. It's one or the other.
It's always-
Or the
yeah,
withdrawal
it's
of the
always
drugs, I
plan.
guess.
Yeah.
But
It was
the
always
thing
fun.
is, that's all tied up in the Mormon Mafia, right? Because like one of, do you want to talk about that? How did you know about that?
That gets into JFK and Romney and blows up the whole world. But I didn't focus as much on that as I did on the old school. But I do have a cool Romney picture from back in the day, tying him all together with a nice little bow. Even though I
See,
heard
now
he's not
that's-
so active. But
That's interesting, and I don't think he's active, but I do think
He's
that
not.
he is.
Mm-mm.
He definitely is connected. Oh, gosh, there's so many connections here. Okay, so basically, there's been a long running rumor. If you like conspiracy theories, this is a good starter. That
We won't have any of that on this show, sir.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes.
Bobby Kennedy Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s dad, of course, that he was murdered by the Mormon Mafia, that he was murdered by Howard Hughes, particularly. Howard Hughes, when he took over Las Vegas, moved into Las Vegas, and he started to try and kick the actual mafia out, discovered that Las Vegas, which was the whole region settled by Mormons, Mormon communists, frankly, sent by Brigham Young out there in 1850, failed once to establish out there and then came back out again, and that time actually managed to establish themselves in the Bunkerville area. And they, and Howard Hughes had a soft spot in his heart for Mormons. He really liked them because they didn't drink, and which was a pet peeve of his. He didn't like alcohol, didn't like people who drank alcohol, which is a funny thing that you would want to go out to Las Vegas and reshape Vegas image and take over Vegas, but you're personally opposed to alcohol. It's like, okay, guy, whatever. And so, but he started to replace people in his inner circle with Mormons, particularly Frank Gay and E. Perry Thomas.
I have some pictures of these
go ahead.
guys that would go great with this little chat.
Okay,
here.
cool.
Yeah, pull them up.
Share screen. And then if you want to Google one that I guess it didn't save, go ahead and Google the current, because I know how you like to put things on the screen, that it still exists. The first Mormon settlement is still in Las Vegas, just so people know. So they can see it. Just 1 second. Maybe. Did it stop? No? Okay. I'm going to minimize you for a minute.
I gotta say, it does sound like a good idea to hire all Mormons as like your bodyguard squad, because you could assume that they're not going to be like getting drunk or, like, more importantly, falling susceptible to like the MK Ultra beta sex kittens, right?
It's true. Well, maybe not.
It might seem that way, but at the same time, if you know Mormon history, it's like
Of course, you're gonna say that, Joe.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yes, this is nice old Robert or Howard Hughes posing. This like his most famous picture, right? But also I included on here what Joe is talking about, which is the Desert Inn. Howard showed up in 1953 and he leased a small 5-room cottage near the Desert Inn called the Greenhouse, and he lived there for a year, and then he came back and lived in the Desert Inn. And he also was severely OCD and crazy, and he told the people at that little greenhouse they could never change it and had to keep it exactly perfect, exactly the way it was, though he never returned there, which was fun. And he instead came to the Desert Inn. They ended up having to block out the top 2 floors because he was so weird that he would walk around naked and like crazy and on drugs and like had crazy toenails and all these weird stories. Like, it's a whole deep dive with his mental illness if you want to get into that. But this is, in fact, the hotel he stayed in, and he decided that because they were annoying him because he didn't want to leave, that he would just buy it. So he did. Misses him later in life. Things went drastically downhill, and I think it's important to share this, and we'll get it to it later, but he was 6'3" and he weighed 93 pounds when he died, under very suspicious issues and drug overdose type stuff. But it wasn't an overdose. It was kidney failure, but they didn't know why. Also, antifreeze will do that. But anyways, so yeah.
Howard, so like, but Howard Hughes, he was easily considered the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest man in America at times. He was like one of the wealthiest people in America. And, there were all kinds of connections he made in there. But the thing is that Bobby Kennedy, when the Kennedys rose to power, ironically enough, they were very anti-organized crime, right? Which is weird because the Kennedys and organized crime, I mean, if it weren't for organized crime, the Kennedys probably never would have come up, right? But Bobby Kennedy, particularly when he was in government, he was cracking down, especially when he was Attorney General under the JFK administration, was cracking down on organized crime and monopolies, which is how he actually became kind of a hero to me. But then, as he did, Howard Hughes got more and more paranoid about him coming after him and coming after his empire. And so he had hired a guy named Robert Mayhew, an attorney who used to work for the FBI in Las Vegas. So if you're going to get an attorney to represent you while you're taking over a city, basically, get a guy who used to work for the FBI, especially if you're worried about the government coming after you because you're a big corporation and or possibly involved in organized crime. And so he hires this guy for like,
right here.
what's that?
I can put his photo up since you're talking about him. I think I have
Cool.
one of anyway. Let's see if I have it. This is McCord with Gay and Rankin. I don't think he's in here. I think I have him in another folder. But go ahead.
Right. That's Mitt Romney. That's different.
Yeah.
But it's connected. It's all connected.
There he is.
So
There's
Robert Mayhew was like closely connected to basically. He was closely connected to Hughes. Hughes basically hired him to be. He when he hired him, he said, "I want you to be my alter ego. Basically, you're going to do things that I can't do." And so he worked for him for 15 years, doing all of his background stuff, right? And then as that was going on, Robert Mayhew starts getting Frank Gay, who is a Mormon, and as Mormons generally do, they only trust and hire other Mormons. He brings in this guy, E. Perry Thomas, who is a banker from Utah. And so you have all these, and they start hiring out people in the Hughes organizations and then start closing down Hughes's business and replacing them with other businesses. Like they founded Summa Corporation, which eventually becomes the main fingers in everything corporation that Howard Hughes was using to control industry all across, to make money across all kinds of different businesses, including casinos and aviation and just everything that he took an interest in and wanted to make money in. Summa Corporation handled all of it. And it was Gay and Thomas who were running like all of these organizations and filling it all out with prominent Mormons from the church. So and as that happened, Robert Mayhew
gets even deeper. Yeah, with Mayhew. Mayhew goes way deep, way bad. He wasn't a Mormon. Just to say.
Right.
Mayhew wasn't. Right. He was like one of the only
Interestingly enough, considering that he was an FBI agent, which at the time
he was an FBI agent that like they filmed actually Mission Impossible like on his life, and he worked for Nixon, and he was involved in NASA's scandal, and it was a whole. He was involved with the King of Saudi Arabia. He is a former spy. Lots of things. Lots of politician connections.
Suffice it to say that he knew where a lot of the skeletons were buried for Hughes particularly too.
Definitely.
But he really only worked for him for 15 years. And in 1970, I think it was, basically this group took over the group that were running Hughes businesses. And he thinks that what happened is that as Hughes got older and older and got sicker and sicker and sicker, these guys started
addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
Bad.
Well, yeah. And his OCD, whether induced by drugs or just because he had OCD, it ramped up to the point where he couldn't leave the house, couldn't take care of himself, couldn't feed himself. And yeah, people said like he would walk around naked, gaunt, like he was falling apart. And
that was like that was made to happen to him, or do you think that he naturally degenerated on his own?
I think that as a nurse, they were over medicating him, and he was known to actually have broken off hypodermic needles in his body. You don't do that to yourself. Like that's from a shot that was not given to you by yourself or willingly, by the way. To break a hypodermic needle off at that time frame in time, like they were big and they were very strong back then. And I mean, he had multiple broken off syringes of needles found in his autopsy, which
they should have offered him some Krispy Kremes or some poutine and no more broken needles.
Well, the thing is, he would only eat like certain things like ice cream, and he wore Kleenex boxes on his feet. So I do think it was like a real thing. His mother actually made him this way. I actually think his mom had Munchausen by proxy. And she was so crazy when he was little about him getting sick that she made him completely nuts later in life. So he was terrified. Also, is Trump a germaphobe? Like Trump, a germaphobe, and he was so crazy about it that he was known to burn his clothes if he had gone around somebody that was sick, like immediately, and go naked. He didn't give a shit.
I do that whenever I come home from Walmart.
Yeah, same. I mean, got it.
We have like a delousing station that leads into the house, and there's like a Mop 5
Yep.
station. Yeah.
Just gotta you spray down like a radiation. Yeah. No, it was sad. It was sad, and I don't think anybody would have done that to themselves, because you would be careful and just get the shot in. And he had, by the way, this Mormon Mafia had shifts, 24-hour shifts split into 8 hours for each person, with nurses as well at bedside. So this was like a very tight ship. I mean, they were making sure that he was taken care of, although he had bed sores and weighed nothing and was totally sick.
And so I just need to slow the pace down here, because you guys are experts on all this, and this, like, I'm kind of learning. I know
Sure.
about Hunt quite a bit, or Hughes, because I was doing a deep dive with Cheney on like his ties with deep sea travel. He didn't just make planes; he made like submarines and stuff. But the people that actually, let's say that we go into the theory that he was confined, and like people were keeping him in this hotel, and they were sort of like drugging him, and was that the Mormons behind that, or were they just helping facilitate it
So
on behalf of Vegas, or like who was actually behind it?
I think it was gay. In my opinion, I think it was gay.
Well,
But-
and gay
and
being
Perry,
Mormon, was
Perry.
this because he was Mormon,
He
so
was-
there wasn't a Mormon
well,
influence, or was this like
no, we
a
haven't-
gay thing?
This is like a money thing. This is all about where the chips fall, literally, because when we get into gay and we get into Perry, they're literally known as the kingmakers in Vegas. They were literally known to, so Perry, we haven't got to him yet, but he's coming popping right up. He was Mormon, and he was one of Perry Thomas. He's the kingmaker. He was the first banker to lend to casino operators, and they changed the rules and corporatized this. And this is how they got rid of the real mob, because Mayhew was the one that connected Howard Hughes to the mob, and he was the one that got him in with the actual mob to even buy the first like little bit, and that was through John Rosselli of the Chicago mob, and as well as Sam Giancano. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry, guys. It's Italian. And so he had got him in with them, and that is how he made his first purchase. I believe it was the Sands on that one, but after the Desert Inn. And so, but soon enough, when Perry started lending money to people, it kind of got the mob washed out. By the 1970s, the mob was gone, because the skimming wasn't working, because it was all corporatized. It became a corporate business. And why did it become a corporate business? Because Gay and Perry actually facilitated Hughes to buy all these properties underneath like their propositioning people for like their company and saying it's for them. Perry Thomas was doing this often, and they would not let people know it was for Howard Hughes. And so he would acquire these other properties by having them be actually nefarious. It was nefariously. And he should have never had a gaming license in the first place, because his OCD was so bad that he refused to be fingerprinted. He refused to have his picture taken. He refused everything you're supposed to do, and he refused to do any contracts. And so Hughes was just a mess this way. I mean, they really could have gone crazy with it, but they didn't. They let him do it because he was so rich. And plus, I mean, Mayhew there's all kinds of CIA back. We're going to get into some crazy shit, but like for the corporatizing part, I believe Gay and Perry ran the show. They kicked Mayhew out. They didn't need him anymore. He brought the mob ties. The mob ties dissipated. Boom. It's all corporate. And this is why I believe this, because what he mentioned with the Summa Corps, the board of the Summa Corps was only including Frank W. Gay, Chester Davis, Nadine Henley, John Holmes, Lester Mylar, and they were the only two that ever saw him. But actually, Hughes himself was not even on his own board. He was not even on his board. So, and they were actually branching off and making other corporations without his knowledge with his name on it. And that was Gay that did that. And Gay actually opened up multiple Hughes like companies that funny enough, had to do with computers. And I know we all know about the Mormons and their damn computer schemes, but whatever. Like
And
it
that's
failed. Yeah,
that's a whole thing, though. Like, if people
it
want a
is.
rabbit hole to go down, there's a guy named Robert C. Gay. He is the
Yes.
son of Frank Gay. Okay.
Yes.
He is currently as of 2012, he was ordained into the presidency of the 70s. So he's like a
And he
middle
got kicked
management.
out. He got kicked out. Did you know this? They kicked
No,
him
I
out
didn't
in
know this.
2021.
Of the
Yes, he got
church.
kicked out. No, of the quorum of the they retired him.
Oh, of
They
the Senate.
retired
Oh, yeah.
him
He's
6
emeritus.
months
Yeah.
before he was gonna be like for life. They kicked him out.
Oh,
He got
okay.
off.
Well, but this guy Robert Gay, he is Frank Gay's son, and
Yes.
his job before he was a general authority for the Mormon Church was that he worked at Bain Capital, which is Mitt Romney's Wall Street investment firm, right?
Yes.
And then
Which is why I gave the
he got
picture with Bain. That was the sign behind Romney. Was the I can re-show it, but it said Bain in the background, so you can like prove what we're saying that we're not lying. So.
and he went in, and then he went into business with the Huntsman family, which is probably the most politically and financially influential family in Mormonism, and certainly in Utah. Of course, John Huntsman Jr., you may have heard of. He ran for president back in the day, and as a Republican, and he was also in the Obama administration before that. But he was governor of Utah before that, and very connected, right? And then, but he started a venture capital firm with the Huntsmans out in California called Huntsman Gay Capital, I want to say it's called. And
How
so
hard is
he
it to
went.
have the name Gay and be Mormon? Oh my
I can only
gosh.
imagine.
Hi,
That may
Brother
be what
Gay. Hi, Brother
this all.
Gay. Hi, Elder Gay. How are you doing today? Sorry, I had to. Okay, go forth.
I told you my name is Elder Rollins. This is the last time I answered Elder Gay.
I know. Okay.
But the thing is, he goes from Wall Street investing, making tons of money with the firm that is now that really consulted with Ensign, what becomes Ensign Partners in here in Utah, which is the Mormon Church's secret Wall Street nest egg firm that's worth at least $250 billion, I think is what the final tally is. So it's like, that's where their wealth and power, they're basically trading on behalf of all these wealthy Mormons, including the church itself. And then he goes from there over with the Huntsmans to start a venture capital firm in Silicon Valley. And then from there, he gets made middle management in the actual hierarchy of the apostles and sub apostles, who are called 70s in the Mormon Church, inside the actual official Mormon Church. And it's like, there's something going on here. This is being connected into the Mormon business empire. It's
you're making it sound like they were just in it for the money or something, man.
Well, but also Sumo Corporation had huge ties with the CIA. They were running a helicopter and like aviation thing for the CIA, and there were known contracts for the CIA that were secured and continued. And this goes into Robert at a later point, because they are saying that he has affiliation, if not indeed was in a 3-letter agency. So I mean, I can't prove that, but the rest of them I can. I can prove that Gay was, and I can prove that Mayhew was, because they both have it in their like Wikipedia. Even it's known that the one was a spy and the other one was a paratrooper in as a skier when the war happened. And so this was like a known thing. This is like all over the internet. So it's not like Heidi made it up. I know I'm a conspiracy theorist, but that's a real thing. So,
and I'm trying to find. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I just want to say,
that was it.
Since we're talking mafia, I had to bring in. This is what happens when you have a live stream. We're gonna bring in another person, Tommy Truthful from Truth Mafia, longtime friend. He is a mafia expert, at least a modern day one. So here's Tommy into the fray here, man.
What's
up? Come on.
How y'all doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I was just
Don't know if you know each other. This is Tommy. This is Heidi Love, and this is Joe. They're both ex-Mormons. And Tommy's a longtime friend. He's deep into conspiracies. He's awesome. Probably the biggest expert that I know on gematria and just making like crazy connections. So you guys will be able to mention like a name or a date, and he usually can link it to a million things.
Like boom. All right, sounds good.
I heard you guys talking about the Mormons. Did you guys mention the order?
The United Order?
No, the order is it's known as the Kingston clan. It's like a secretive group.
This
Oh,
is,
yeah.
That's a separate. These guys were mainstream, but yes, the Kingstons. Yeah. I mean, the church didn't affiliate with each other. Like the Kingstons had already split from the mainstream church. So at this point, if they were doing dealings, it would have been way under the radar. But I don't think they would have, because the Kingstons think the real regular Mormons are going to hell. So I don't know that they would talk to us.
It's like they're one of their most secretive organizations. Supposed to be like kind of like the Mormon Mafia, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, in this case, the Mormon Mafia that we're talking about is the Howard Hughes thing. There are different organizations that have been referred to as the Mormon Mafia, and the Kingstons are one of them, and they're still active. They are an active and frightening group, frankly. I mean,
is the mafia that we're talking about in Vegas with like tangential to Frank Gay, are they still in business too?
I think there may still be ties, but he should know the names. So John Roselli of the Chicago mob and Giancana were the ones, Sam Giancana were the ones that were associated with Mayhew, and that's how they got pulled all together to even start this whole thing. And so
Sam Giancana was running it for Al Cardo. He was really like an underboss to the organization of Chicago, but most people probably don't even know who that guy is, Al Cardo.
Right. But that's who the contacts were from Mayhew, who was a spy for the CIA, and he had these contacts from a previous situation. He broke away from the CIA and started his own investigation group. And the only reason why he even got brought into Howard Hughes's life is because he thought his wife was cheating on him, even though he only spent 20 minutes a day with her, and he was super crazy. He just liked to stare at her, and then she could go on her way after 20 minutes. They didn't live together. It was super weird. But anyway, so that's why Mayhew even met Howard Hughes, and then this all goes from there. So yeah, he was CIA.
Yeah. And the thing is that one of, and who knows if this is true, how true it is, but it's one of these things that gives you pause, even if you, like me, don't jump for a conspiracy theory, as Heidi knows, is that one of Robert Mayhew's, I'm trying to find the guy's name, but one of Robert Mayhew's associates, close associates, was the one who came out and said, like, before he died, that he wanted, and there's a video on it on YouTube somewhere. He's like, I just wanted to say this, before I'm gone. He's like, because the Mormon Mafia has been working us out of the system this whole time. And he said, but the assassination of Bobby Kennedy was totally orchestrated by the Hughes organization, which is like, seems strange because, like, okay, Bobby Kennedy was not popular with Hughes. Hughes was not, Hughes was afraid of him, obviously. But by the time that happened, Hughes had basically lost his mind. He had lost all contact with reality. And it was Perry and it was and Gay who were running his whole empire. So if they hadn't done in, is it this Mormon connected group that had Bobby Kennedy done in, and why? And it was Robert F. Kennedy Jr. who in 2017, after having talked with Donald Trump about it before during his campaign, it was basically apparently their conversations together or some association between them that resulted in Trump promising that he was going to release the JFK files when he became president, which he released, like, I think it was 28,000 individual documents, classified documents about the JFK assassination and Bobby Kennedy, but then held back.
He's promised to do again. He's promised to do again. He's promising to do it again. He's promising. Yeah, Robert.
But it's like, why did they withhold anything from the beginning? I mean, it's been, come on, guys, it's been, what, going on for 60 years here.
Well, does this mean that Mitt Romney would have never released the JFK papers? Because
never. He's totally involved. No, he's 100% involved in this.
That's crazy.
There's too much. There's something shady going on there.
So you guys don't think Trump's involved at all? You think he's good?
No, I think everyone's involved.
No, me too.
No, I definitely think Trump's involved.
I'm an anarchist. I think they all
I don't trust none of them. I don't trust
none of them. Yes. Tommy.
None of them. They're all. If you look into their lineage, they all have ties to the noble bloodline. So it's a modern day
They're
Lord.
Zionists.
Yeah. nobility.
I don't know about that. I have my political ideals that probably won't
Me and
fly
Tommy
great
get
here,
along.
No,
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
this is what I say is
Joe-
fact. I've done many breakdowns on their lineage. Even Trump, he can tie his lineage back to all the way to Charlemagne. You know, so
Yep.
to say like this dude is not one of the elites is crazy to even say.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
that's definitely that's crazy to say. I think you're right about that.
Obama's related to 9 of them, bro. You know that?
Oh,
Obama's
he's a
related-
Bush. He's a Bush.
Yeah, they're all cousins, bro. This little girl did an
Yep.
amazing documentary on it. She's like a 11-year-old, and she did it for her school project, and it went crazy viral. I think it's got like
Yep.
millions of views. But she's just a little girl, and she did the whole genealogy of every U.S. president and found out every one of them are related, even if it's like
Is she
why.
Mormon?
distant
That's,
cousins.
yeah. Why?
Mormons are all about genealogy. And that has nothing
That's
to do
right.
with racism.
Not at all.
Yeah. but the thing that was interesting about it was, Mayhew revealing that, or and his associates revealing that Bobby Kennedy was potentially assassinated by the Mormons. Is that the Mormons at the same time are connected deeper and deeper in with J. Edgar Hoover and the Mafia, including the guy who becomes prophet in the 1980s, Ezra Taft Benson.
Yep.
And so it's like all of that interconnects.
And it goes clear down to the fact that all of these men made a tremendous amount of money. The will comes into this, which it becomes the infamous Mormon will scandal, lasts 34 years to be settled because Gay, who had the most backing for the church, was like, oh no, it never happened, because at this point he is over a foundation that's a nonprofit, and he has more power and control by saying that will isn't real than to fight for the will for the Mormon church. And so he backs away from the church, doesn't support that all these tons of money go to church, which supposedly just showed up on his doorstep of the prophet. And they just were like, no, it never happened, because they wanted to keep what they had built. They literally built there would be no Vegas without Howard Hughes, and there would be no Vegas without these two Mormon men and Mayhew.
And it's interesting though that because what you're saying, because like I said, I don't go for a conspiracy theory, but this is weird. This is weird. Okay, is that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has now endorsed Trump, right?
Mhm.
Trump promised to release.
Friends. They were always friends.
And JFK Jr. and Trump were supposedly friends. I mean, there are pictures of them together and stuff.
What do you mean were? He's still alive. They are still friends.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about the shadow government.
And you know the word conspiracy was coined during the JFK thing. So it's to anybody that thinks freely and open-minded. That's why they use that term to make you, oh, this person's crazy because they think outside the box. So just to let you know that.
The three of us. I was talking to Joe before we started, but like me, Heidi, and Tommy, like we wear conspiracy theorist as like a badge of honor. But
yes.
I guess within the atheist circle, as you were describing, you put it in your words, but that conspiracy theorist has a very specific negative connotation in Joe's world.
That's crazy.
We're all
I would think you got to be more into it, Joe. Because
I'm all about people. I'm all about pointing out that anybody who ought to be labeled a free thinker is obviously going to be cast out from mainstream society. We atheists are all about that. Most atheist organizations have been called free thinker organizations in the past. The atheists that Hitler had done in and hunted down were the German Free Thinkers League. I'm with you. I'm with you as far as that goes. But I'm just saying, I know that there's some weird things out there that even guys like me are skeptical.
One thing I will tell you, Joe, and you're right about the conspiracy truth seeker movement is one of the most infiltrated movements with Central Intelligence agencies, and they flood it with a bunch of lies. So that part of it, you got to be careful. Well, I do know about it. So I do know about that.
But
Let's go, Tommy.
This is what I'm saying about this is weird though, is that Donald Trump had promised to release all this stuff about JFK, apparently because of his association with RFK Jr. And then he released a bunch of anemic crap that doesn't really reveal anything. It's like, oh, okay. So everybody will go, oh, okay. So it turns out all these JFK conspiracy theories are nuts. But then it gets mentioned at the bottom of all the media reports. There are a group of documents that they've withheld, that the Trump administration says they're going to release later, and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And now they got passed forward down to the Biden administration, and Biden shut it down. Nope, this isn't happening. So it's like, wait a second. Okay, I'm not saying that that's where the good stuff is, but that's the stuff they didn't release. So there's something
Right,
there
right.
that we're not
Convinced-
supposed to know.
I'm so
He's
convinced that Bush's name is all up in there because the Bush dynasty, like if they were
Mhm.
pointing to Prescott Bush having any kind of responsibility whatsoever, or even Bush Sr., even though they're both gone, the Bush dynasty wants to live on. And for that reason, I could imagine these records being sealed for centuries because the Bush dynasty doesn't seem like it wants to go away anytime soon. There's going to be a new wave of Bush dynasty members, right?
Howard
Well,
Hughes
and-
was
yeah.
a part of that. Howard Hughes was a part of backing the New World Order idea with Bush. There is freaking paperwork out there on that. I didn't go far into that because I would have been there all day and I was already getting a ton of stuff from
Didn't
this.
Howard Hughes have super OCD too?
Yes, he was super
yeah.
nuts, super nuts, and on lots of drugs. So much
They
drugs.
said he took
He's a
mad
term-
amount of drugs.
Yep.
Funny.
But here's the thing, Tommy might have missed this.
Find
Tommy,
that
I'm a
thing,
nurse.
You know,
Tommy, on his death paperwork, like all of his autopsy stuff said there were multiple hypodermic needles broken off in his body. You don't do that to yourself, though.
no,
you don't do that.
No, that was
So-
why somebody did that to him. That's crazy.
Yep.
A lot of them get.
And they took him. They took him out
Yeah.
in 1970. They took Hughes out of Vegas on a stretcher in the dark of the night, and Gay showed up 2 days later, and that was it. He never came back to Vegas ever again.
And
Ever.
Howard
And then
Hughes,
he died.
he was the one that had the ties to the Mormon Mafia. That what's your name again, brother?
Me?
Sorry.
I'm
yeah,
Joe.
yeah, Joe. Was
Joe,
talking.
Exmo Joe.
I didn't see your name up
Yeah.
there. Sorry, but
Yeah.
yeah, you don't really hear about the Mormon connection to the Las Vegas. You know, you always hear like the Chicago connection, or really what people don't really know is that there's a huge Jewish connection, and all the mafia was really ran by Myra Lansky, Murder Inc., all Jews, right? The Purple Gang, all Jews. They were all Jewish. So some of the biggest names in the mafia, Myra Lansky built all Havana, Cuba. He's one of the main people. You can't even mention Las Vegas without mentioning him, you know, and it seems like they betrayed him at the end too, though. He tried to go back to Israel and get them to help him out, and they kind of abandoned him, you know? So I think once they're done with you, they just kind of whatever.
They don't care.
I'm gonna
And
just
they
have to
threw
take
their own
notes from you on
people,
that because
too.
I don't know anything about
Yeah.
that. But
Oh,
Well,
the
I
thing
got a
that's
Mormon
interesting
question.
to me.
I got a Mormon question for
Okay.
Joe and Heidi. Isn't there some kind of like a moral barrier for Mormons to be like founding Las Vegas, or even after it's built, right? Isn't it against Mormon code to go and gamble money or even
here's the thing.
partake in pretty much anything Vegas has to offer?
But not about those investments, though. And that's
That's
where
exact-
Mormons don't care about getting their hands dirty. Don't touch the dice. That was the comment. You don't do your own drugs if you're the drug dealer. You don't touch the dice. And that's why Hughes liked them so much, because he knew they wouldn't gamble, but he knew they were going to make him money. And they did. They made him so much money.
So Mormons are allowed to invest money into things that are incompatible with their belief system. Like,
Yeah,
can they
not
invest
only
in
allowed
medical
to-
check big
marijuana?
enough.
Not only
What if
allowed
it's
to,
that-
it's part of it. I'm sorry. Go
Okay.
ahead, Heidi.
Oh, I was
Well-
just saying,
well,
if their tithing check was big enough.
Hey,
Yeah.
why do they use
it's like-
why do they use the 8-pointed star? The Mormons, they got that all
This-
over their,
they do. They use
Star
the
of
Star of Rampham.
yeah,
The
it's
Star of
all over-
Rampham is 100% their priesthood. It's actually the insignia for the men's priesthood, the Melchizedek priesthood. Tommy, I'd love to do a show with you on a bunch of symbolism.
Yeah,
This
we'll have to
we
do
could
that.
go crazy.
We'll
Yeah.
have to do that sometime because I
Then
had a-
inverted pentagrams. There's a whole. I'm going to get into. Let me just
We'll
make
get
2
crazy
points
if we
quickly
go
as
there.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, But that's why I mentioned this Robert C. Gay connection. The guy who is connected into the mainstream Mormon church here, is that if the Gay family, the Huntsmans, if these people, these prominent Mormon billionaire families, and possibly including the Romneys, are in any way connected into the assassination of Bobby Kennedy, isn't it interesting then that he worked in venture capital in Palo Alto, that he worked with Silicon Valley? They may have investments in everything from Facebook. I don't know how much what all they have invested.
The number one holding for the Mormon church right now is Tesla, and their boy is Elon Musk's really good, like Jeremy Birchall. Yeah. So they should look at that. But anyways, yeah.
That's a whole
thing.
Into it,
it's like huge. That's a thing. But I will say this, as far as the continuation of Vegas, this E. Perry Thomas, the kingmaker that I mentioned, comes up again to continue Vegas because they say that he was, and I quote from his son, Steve Wynn was like a son to my dad. And George Eccles was kind of my dad's godfather. So this goes super
Was Steve
deep.
Wynn Mormon?
No,
but he was very connected to Thomas. E. Perry Thomas, the kingmaker. Yeah, they came up together, and like it wasn't he the one who bought or built the Bellagio, the Mirage. He built like all the big casinos and hotels,
and he was backed 100% by E. Perry Thomas and his bank, and they were Mormons.
Which is a Salt Lake City bank. Nobody here talks about
the
that
Bank
either.
of Las Vegas. Yep, the bank.
What's up with that Bain Capital that guy run? That dude you mentioned, that Robert C. Gay
with Romney.
Yeah, with Romney.
Well, he was part of Merrill Lynch, and it was all a bit. It's a big.
Man, these people are doing everything, ain't they?
Money.
Well,
money. These are
anything money.
Criminals. Yeah.
Here's the thing: is that like even Brigham Young, like going way back there, right? Brigham Young was dead set against drinking. Even though the Mormon church had its policy about not drinking alcohol, the policy was founded by an alcoholic, Joseph Smith. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. And the policy was, don't drink alcohol that other people make. Brew your own wine and only drink that. By the time they get to Utah, there are a lot of Mormons who drank at that time. And it was Brigham Young who was against it. It was Brigham Young who was like, if you drink whiskey, you are as bad as a horse thief. And they hung horse thieves. So it's like, and so from there, that all becomes a big part of the Mormon identity with Brigham Young. But then even Brigham Young himself, one of the first businesses he starts a vineyard in Salt Lake City. That doesn't work out very well because you can't grow grapes in Salt Lake City. What the hell is the matter with you, right? And then at the same time, you have Brigham Young is connected through various channels into the brothels that start up in Salt Lake City and the church involved in these brothels. So it's like, yes, it's one thing about do what we say, not what we do, and also do what you want if we're going to make money off of it. And so
they're very much like the Jewish with the Goyim. Like they're going to do what they're going to do, but not to their people, but like to others, right? Like it's very much like that. And Tommy, you brought up Jewish people, and Watergate was.
I wasn't talking negative, but I was just saying.
No. Just that it's right. I'm going to just bring up a player. Meyer was a well-known piece of the Watergate issue, and also Hughes was a huge part of the Watergate issue and why it broke down. And so there's connections there too.
Yeah, I don't want no smoke with them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want.
I'm not. I'm just stating facts, people. I'm not against anybody. I'm just stating facts. Yep.
We're probably wrong in our facts. We probably need some alternative facts. We're probably wrong.
Wikipedia.
Yeah. So a little bit of re-education.
Hey, but that company that he started as of 2023, they've made $185 billion through that Bain Capital shit.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. I mean, and there's no denying it. It's like at the same time, though, you got this conflict between Mitt Romney and the establishment Republicans and or the MAGA crowd on the Trump crowd because of his positions on when he voted to convict Trump during the impeachment hearings, right? But it's like at the same time, it's like if these guys are all guarding secrets about what happened to the Kennedys. and what happened with Hughes in Vegas, and Trump is as involved in that as anybody. Trump owned a casino in Vegas, right? And supposedly, how much he actually owned? Well, that's a question.
I love that he owned
these
the
guys-
the Atlantis hotel too.
Yeah.
That one's
Right.
fun. That's a little rabbit hole.
Well, they say the only man who ever created a house with created a casino where the house always loses.
Yep.
But if they are all connected into it, is it really just about the impeachment hearings? Is it the impeachment itself and the conviction, or is there some kind of conflict going on between the Trump side of whatever this conspiracy is, if there is a conspiracy, and I'm not saying there is one. And if there is one, then I say there isn't one, definitely. And I'm sorry for all of this.
Yeah,
and please,
that's
I take it all back. Please, Lord, take me back. But, is the Bain Capital crowd one side of this? And is it warring with the MAGA side or the Trump side? How, what is that conflict and how much do we know about it? I don't know. And then the bigger question is, for me right now, is how does Robert F. Kennedy Jr. hold out so long in this election and then reluctantly endorse Trump right at the end?
Reluctantly.
It's like, what actually is going on here? I mean, there's something more than what we're being told.
And also, Paranoid American, you mentioned the Bush, or was it Tommy? Whoever said the Bush problem. I do want to say one thing. George H.W. Bush, through Zapata Oil, met the Mormon Mafia, and was leasing the islands from Howard Hughes to do CIA raids on Cuba. And that is factual. You can Google that.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to do a podcast sometime, Heidi.
Yeah, I'd love to.
We definitely have.
I'm a nerd. Yeah.
So what do you think, Joe? What do you think is behind that whole thing you just mentioned with Trump and all that? What's your theory?
I don't know.
Anyways,
I
know you got to have theory.
You want me? My man's gonna try to rope me into promoting a conspiracy theory.
No,
Actually theorize.
Come on,
I don't know.
Joe.
It's yeah. If I were to guess, I would say there is something to do with the billionaire class protecting their own. And so is it that Howard Hughes was through the Mormons or through his own endeavors somehow connected into a bunch of billionaires who are still billionaires today and still prominent today? You have the Gays, you have the Huntsmans, you have all these Mormon billionaire families. And then there was this whole, but the thing that really is interesting to me then is that you remember Evan McMullen, who's supposed to be the good Mormon guy, right? In this whole thing. You remember Evan McMullen? Ran for president back in 2016.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I can't picture his name.
Yeah, so
He had a little shaved head, well, I'm pointing to my own, but he had more of a shaved head.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
He was a former, if I remember right, he was a former CIA agent, considered a big patriot, and he rose to prominence during the whole, conversion from the Utah Mormons, Republicans, going from supporting Romney to going towards Trump. And, Evan McMullen was the guy who emerges in the middle of that to say, don't support this guy. He is corrupt as all get out. You want somebody who is a homegrown Republican Mormon hero boy. It's got to be Evan McMullen. And somebody during that election cycle, they accused him, said, oh, this guy in the Mormon Mafia, they're such, creeps. And that was the first time a lot of people had heard the term Mormon Mafia. And so all of a sudden, all of these creators in social media start saying, oh, Mormon Mafia. Oh, here we are, the Mormon Mafia. We show up at your door and try to get you to keep your family together, try to build eternal families. We're trying to blah, 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 blah. There was this concerted effort to take over the hashtag Mormon Mafia, anything related to the term Mormon Mafia. And do you guys still hear me? I lost I'm not hearing.
Yeah, and I'm curious when you say
you.
they're trying to take over Mormon Mafia. Is this the gay Mormon Mafia?
The gay mafia. We're gonna call it the gay mafia.
Is that
the gay Mormon Mafia? The gay
Gay
Mormon
Mormon
Mafia. It could very well
Mormon
be. That could be it. Exactly. I mean, it's like, why are they suddenly trying to rebrand this?
His name was gay.
Why are they trying to divert everybody's attention away from actually Googling what the Mormon Mafia is? There's so many things people say about Mormons, and the church has nothing, just doesn't even respond to it. They're like, let it go, let it die out on its own. Don't feed the fire, right? Then this
Don't
Mormon
touch it.
Mafia thing,
Yeah.
right? Then the Mormon Mafia thing starts trending on social media, and all of a sudden, these Mormon creators start coming up all over with, oh yeah, the Mormon Mafia will bake pies and leave them on your doorstep. Don't eat it though. It's like, it's like they're trying to sanitize this so that people, they're trying to take it back. That's exactly right.
Right. And then there's SRA stories that come out, and they try and link the Mormon Mafia just with the SRA stories. Not that I'm saying they're not true or whatever. That's a different story is all. And it's a different family, and that's into the Levitt situation. And that's all speculation anyways, because read Paper Dolls and Cowboy Boots, not my problem. Anyways, so if you want to look into that, that's a whole different thing. But then they're pointing to that because Levitt went on TV and said, I'm not a cannibal. What? Like, why the hell would you do that? You're the attorney general, you weirdo. And so now he lives in Scotland, but don't worry about it. Anyways.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole rabbit hole.
I probably don't know anything, but like,
right.
Whatever happened with that, whatever. I'm a dumb blonde. Like, don't listen to me. Go look it up. So here's the thing is they're trying to shove it off to that because they don't want you following the money. They don't want you following the CIA, and they don't want you looking this stuff up. Period. That's what's up.
Right.
Like, it goes.
Yeah. If you don't, if you ever have an extra episode to do a conspiracy theory story on, that's even I am going to go, okay, that's interesting. There's something going on there. It is this Levitt scandal with the guy who buys the Spite Castle in Scotland, despite the other guy, who's taken on a false identity and conned a whole bunch of Mormons out here. And it's like this ongoing feud between these two and how they're connected. It's like, it's a super fascinating.
By the way, the people in this book that I just posted the name of that were accused of wrongdoing are the current Russell M. Nelson's daughter and her husband. So that's interesting. But, I'm probably crazy. Whatever.
Yeah. The other side. Yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up. Okay. So the other side for me, I have a whole series on Hellfire Agency called Underground, where I just go hard about Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad and the corruption going on there and all the scandals that are going on there. And one of the things that I haven't released the episode on yet, is this documentary put together by the Joseph Smith Foundation, which is the Stoddard family. It's called Statesmen and Symbols, all in letters that are supposed to look like Hebrew letters, which I'm sure the Jewish community is ecstatic about. But basically, it's you notice this markup here, this thing over the Nauvoo temple here. It looks a lot like the sign of the compass in Freemasonry. Yeah. Okay, basically, their main guy they interview in here is Tim Ballard, talking about how Freemasonry built this country. It's gotten a bad rap, but the Freemasons are the true disciples of Christ doing God's
where's your
word.
hat?
Yeah, you don't know this, Joe, but we're not allowed to talk about Freemasonry on this show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In any sort of negative
Thomas,
light.
where's your hat? Where's the hat?
You're lucky we are not live. You're lucky we're not
hat
live.
on. Put the hat on.
I don't have the hat in reach right now.
What are you doing?
It's not around. That's our honorary Mason right there.
So,
I don't trust nothing.
Joe's eyes just got big.
I mess with him though. I mean, so far he's been an honorable stand-up dude. So I judge everybody by their character. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
Right.
Same.
But it's working. But here's the thing: when you talk about symbolism in the Mormon Church, about like 5-point inverted pentagrams and stars in Mormon construction and everything, that all goes back to Joseph Smith's history as a Freemason, and when the Freemasons kicked him out because he was doing weird things, because he was doing too many.
Wow, I didn't even know he got kicked out of the Freemasons. That's interesting.
Yes.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he became
like it was like within weeks, no?
Don't the Mormons
it was
they're like the lost tribe of Israel, though? Don't they believe that? Or is that not
The lost tribes of Israel are a disaster.
Right. They're Ephraim. Were you Ephraim? Were you the tribe of Ephraim or Manasseh? Heidi.
What's that?
I'm
Ephraim. I'm from
You're Ephraim? I'm from Manasseh.
So there's only two of them? Ephraim and Manasseh are the two
Well,
tribes that they say.
Ephraim
So
and-
okay, this is, let me tell him really quick.
Okay.
Some guy comes in and puts their hands on our head and channels to another god and freaking tells us where we're from. That's how that happens. So
Are you
put that in your hat. I am dead ass. I have a whole presentation on occult Mormonism. And we
Channels,
can go
bro.
there.
I was
Oh,
so I
yay,
received mine.
Thomas.
Paranoid's got
Hey, looking good, buddy.
his
The hat.
high-ranking Scottish Rite hat, which
There we
they're
go.
Is that Scottish
There
right?
we go.
Is it
Yes.
Scottish right? Oh.
Yes, he is.
the only one that used the double-headed phoenix.
Yep.
Oh,
Well, they're the only ones
okay.
that go
That's
up as
dope.
many numbers as Thomas has. Thomas has a lot of numbers.
I'll say
but I
this,
don't know
that-
if he
that
likes
looks
me
a
to
lot-
say.
That looks a lot better than my Freemason hat in the when I was a Mormon
yeah,
to the
our
Freemasons.
shit looks-
Mine Freemason.
What he's not going to tell you is it goes beyond 33. That's what he's not going to
Yeah,
tell
no,
you.
I know. No, the occult one goes up to 90 something.
I can also go to any shopping mall and park my car and get free parking if I show this thing. Just so you know,
Oh my gosh.
and I don't have to
dude.
buy
I'm
anything.
in. I'm
You
in.
like to do that?
Let's talk.
I mean,
I'm in.
once
I'll
upon
go.
a time we were anyway.
And you get into hospitals free because they build hella hospitals, don't they? That's all the
Yeah,
Freemasons are
yeah.
always
But you
doing.
can't join up if you're an atheist. This is why. This is the conspiracy. This
A
is the
higher
conspiracy
power.
against me.
Just a higher power.
Keep atheists, free thinkers like me out.
I think that you probably could in that fake masonry that they've got over in the UK. Like they'll just let anyone in over there. So if you really wanted to become a mason as an atheist, you just go and join whatever weird, creepy, like British version they got.
Thanks. That makes me feel great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Are you
He says,
shots at the
thanks.
York Right paranoid?
What about York Right?
Is that who you're taking shots at right now?
No. York Right is definitely not a one that you can join if you're an atheist. That is the opposite. In fact, York Right has a specific degree, the Knights Templar degree, where it is required that you vow to defend Christ, like with your life, essentially. So you're not even allowed to join that degree unless you fully submit to Christ.
Oh wow.
Can I ask you this, Tommy? Okay, because like all my research turned up nothing on this. Okay, but it's known that that the actual mafia, the Italian mafia, not the Cosa Nostra and all that stuff that's mostly just Hollywood anyway, but
Yeah.
the actual Italian
Sicilian
mafia.
That's where my people are from, Palermo.
Okay, but the story goes, it said for a long time here that the Masons and the mafia were connected at the hip in Italy, and that when they came over, I don't know if the Chicago group or the New York group or whom
Oh,
is
100%.
more
They
connected.
still are. They still
You're
are.
talking about P2 Propaganda du Lodge, which was the one that was basically God's banker. It was a cross between the mafia, Freemasonry, and the Vatican's banker. It was
Interesting.
again, money flowed like wine.
Mhm.
Wow.
Follow the road to Rome.
Look, they're all still working together, man. The CIA,
Yes.
the mob, all of them. You'd be dumb to think they're not. That's just how
Yep.
power works. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Absolutely.
a conspiracy. It's if you want to run an empire and control people and not have the peasant class murder you, then you got to control the
Mhm.
shit. You know, it's bread
Yep.
and circus. Keep us entertained, keep us fed. And that's what it is. They don't care if the entertainment's a lie or not. They'll
There you go.
you know, most of the shit we see on the world stage on the news is bullshit anyways. Excuse my
I'll say
language.
this.
What's up?
As
What's up,
I'll say this.
Donut?
If
Donuts up in the house. Our honorary
Hi.
Jewish brother. We got our honorary Mason and our honorary Jewish brother from the Truth Mafia.
Awesome.
What's that noise?
they got us, guys. The Mormon Mafia's after us. Duck. Everybody
Oh
bail.
no. Like I said, I'm just a blonde girl. I don't know anything. Don't
What
keister
is
me
that?
like you did Marilyn.
Donut?
I don't
Is
know.
that you,
I don't know.
Donut? Yeah, it's Donut. Donut. What the hell are you going?
He wants us to say, "What's up, Donut?"
This is what Donut does when he's not on camera. It's like this is. Do you have pants on? Stand up right now. Stand up right now and show us what you're wearing. Oh no, never mind. I take it back. I take it back.
Donut, your mic's not working. It just keeps saying I or something.
Yeah, there's something with your audio. It's like looping over and over.
Have you been connecting to the Kennedys? If you said the name Kennedy too many times.
They saw Donut and got scared.
They hit
They're
me
like,
that yesterday or
it
the other
off.
day when me and Donut was doing a podcast. His mic started tweaking out a little bit, dying, and So he'll probably just have to
weird
power it up.
things. I don't
Yeah,
jump for
you know,
conspiracy theory, but some of this stuff is weird.
Me, I used to, when I first started doing this, I would look at certain groups, right? Like Israel and stuff like that. But then when you start to really realize how all this shit works, they use all the different nationalities. So it's not like it's one specific one at the top. It's really this whole white Anglo-Saxon cartel that has built an empire, and it's the old British, the British Empire that's still running shit today.
Absolutely.
I don't know about that, but I'll tell you what. If you want to get
my brother Joe always says that should be your catchphrase.
I actually don't know about it, and that's what I'm saying. But I tell you one thing that I don't know too much about, because nobody knows much about, but that I think is interesting. You want to get me to jump for a conspiracy theory. You mentioned the words Vatican Bank, and I'm in. I'm like, yep, give me that. That's because there is so much cheese down that tunnel.
Well, of course, you're an atheist. You're going to hate on the Catholics too. I mean, come on, Joe.
Correct. And it's funny because I don't really hate on the Catholics, but I definitely hate on the Vatican Bank because there's a lot of dark, shady things going on there. You get that extend out to things like Mother Teresa, and that's an atheist thing. Now is that the connection between Mother Teresa and how the Catholic Church did away with the institution of how they vet people becoming saints because
they said she's a child trafficker. You never heard that conspiracy? I swear to God, they said that about Mother Teresa.
Yep.
That was
one. Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I read that.
I think, but who knows if it's true? I mean, I don't put it past.
Dude, I don't put anything past any of them.
I mean, basically, Christopher Hitchens basically exposed in his book the missionary position, and then he had a documentary that it's like Channel 4 or BBC produced called Hell's Angel, and all about how basically this woman in all of her positions was all about getting as many babies born into this world as quickly as possible, get them baptized into the Catholic Church, and then dump them off the face of the earth as quickly as possible so that they wouldn't have to suffer. They'd just be more angels in heaven. And as you get into that, it's super fascinating. Like it's not really a secret. It's well known that she did that. But like people are like, well, where did all the money? Because like she took money from the Duvalier family. She took money from Charles Keating, the Keating Savings and Loan scandals. She took money from the most corrupt people in the world who wanted to clean up their image. And all this money that's supposed to go to her missions of charity, it all ends up at the Vatican Bank. And then all of a sudden, John Paul II wants to make her a saint. And so, and it was Christopher Hitchens, the atheist, who came out and was called to be the devil's advocate. This was like an official position in the Catholic Church, the Advocatus Diaboli. Their job, they were called upon by the Vatican to come in and say, okay, if the devil and the angels and his angels and the atheists are ever going to say anything bad about this person after we make them a saint, we want to know what it is now. And he laid out the case. This woman is not a saint. This woman is a terrible person. And because of that, John Paul II did away with the institution altogether, and that they stopped vetting saints using Advocatus Diaboli. So, and then, which is only worked out better for Hitch for the rest of his life, because for the rest of his life, Hitch told people, I'm the guy who retired the devil's advocate position at the Catholic Church, and it became like a huge point of pride. But it's fascinating. It's like the people, you think that the Vatican is wealthy and connected, right? But since the collapse of the papal states, really, it's the Vatican Bank. And who's in charge of the Vatican Bank? The flat reality is no one knows. Okay, yeah, it's Trump. Okay, we're going to start a conspiracy theory. I'll just go for that.
The first Catholic president dynasty.
Who's in charge of it. You know who's in charge of the Catholic Bank. It's quite easy to tell. Man. It's the resurrected Roman Empire. It's the same thing. They're the same people that built, which we got Washington, right? It's its own kind of nation, just like London, just like the Vatican. And in London is the financial institute. Washington is the military industrial complex for this resurrected Roman Empire. At least that's my theory on it. Okay.
My grandpa always said, you're never going to know my grandpa came from the south side of Chicago, and he was involved in some crazy stuff most of my life and ended up in Sundowners and stuff when he came out here. And he told me one thing: anybody that tells you a name is a punk, you'll never know who really runs anything, because the real players, they don't have their name out there.
Yeah,
Period.
no, you'll never hear, real names. We hear like Kennedy, Rockefeller, all these names that
It's a shield name.
Yeah,
It's a shield.
they're like front people. You know what I'm saying? Even the
Try it.
Orsini's, the Medici's, the Cologne families. These are black nobility families that no one really knows.
Aldovandi, the Pacers. You want to look up some stuff, get yourself in trouble, go look that up.
Orsini.
Oh, man.
Orsini's one of the powerfulest families in the world that nobody ever mentions. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they pretty much own all Washington, D.C. Look them up.
But now you have, in America, we have new money conspiracies, right? Now I'm doing it. I'm theorizing. Okay, here we go. I don't jump
Joe,
for
I'm going to
conspiracy
get
theory,
you.
We'll get you,
Okay.
Jeff. We'll get you on board, brother.
Here's the thing.
Don't worry.
I don't know if you noticed this. This just came out like in the last 48 hours. But there's new coverage about, like Fidelity Investments has been trying to claw back their investments into X, into Elon Musk's, since Elon Musk. They claim that their analysis shows that since Elon Musk took over Twitter, it's lost 72% of its value, and their money is all their money in there is tanking. And part of that that case, and then the mediation case by the employees fired by Musk while he was there, has revealed that the top secret group of investors, who were the people who actually put up the money for buying Twitter, at the top of that, the first name is P. Diddy, which, as you know about P. Diddy, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Jared
Oh, yeah.
Birchall is right on there. Jared Birchall too. What's that?
Donut. Remember when you showed P. Diddy with the 4 6s on the elevators? You know where I noticed that, brother, the other day? And this is totally off topic, guys. So this has nothing to do with what we're talking
I know
about.
what picture you mean. Yeah,
But yeah, there was 4 6s. Everybody's trying to say, oh, it's 666. No, it was 4 6s. And the 4 6s, they just had it on Yellowstone, that ranch that they go to down in Texas. It's literally called the 4 6s. So that symbolism is being shown over, and there's something up with it. I don't fully understand it right now, but they're showing it to us over and over again, the 4 6s together.
Just speaking on behalf of the Prince of Darkness, who is, full disclosure, my employer, and everyone knows that at hellfire.agency, where one can sign up and get all of my exclusive content for $6.66 a month.
I gotta
just
say,
have to
dude,
say,
almost all
figured you was
Satanists,
working for
I
y'all.
think, probably start as edgy atheists making jokes, and at a certain point, they think to themselves,
He's
what
gotta
would it
be
matter
friends
if I
with
took another
Jim
song?
Bob. Paranoid. You know
He's
Jim
not
Bob?
doing that.
You know Jim Bob on Instagram, Joe?
no.
You should look him up. You and him are almost identical. I mean, I would think that you watch his content. Maybe he doesn't believe in no conspiracies either. He's very
Interesting.
Very.
We could get to.
He's funny.
We
though.
could.
Comedian.
We should get together, him and I, and get on a podcast to talk about nothing.
It's kind of an assault, right?
Right.
Feel like an
Like
episode
I
of
say,
Seinfeld.
Everybody's tossing out Elon's name. You look up Jared Birchall, you'll get some answers. Allegedly.
I have another Elon tie here because Elon, there was an article from 2 years ago that he bought this Mormon temple called the Kirtland Temple in Ohio.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it just seems like if Elon is following that same archetype as Howard Hughes and surrounding himself, or at least getting into business with Mormons, this Kirtland Temple purchase seems like a really obvious foot in the door.
How are
You
you
freaked Joe
telling me
out.
something
You freaked
about
Joe
Kirtland
out.
Temple? And I've never heard of this. That's wild. Is that true?
I mean, I
Holy
make most of the stuff up that I say, but yeah, there's an article from November 26, 2022. I'll pull it up here just so this one time I'm not just throwing Freemasonic lies out into the ether. The
Oh my
this is
gosh,
just the
John
first
DeLynn
time.
did a podcast on it.
Right here.
Holy
crap, how
Elon
do I not
Musk
know about
buys
this?
the Kirtland Temple.
Wow.
But the church
November
just bought
26th.
the church just bought the Kirtland Temple, and they made
Or
a whole
maybe they bought
to-do
it for
about
$1 from Elon because Jared Birchall's his best friend.
Right. For an
Allegedly.
undisclosed sum, Musk is now the owner and CEO of the Kirtland Temple, its visitor center and museum.
Wow, that's interesting.
But that's crazy because they just bought it from
Okay,
the
guys,
from
I'm telling you this,
the
and
RLDS for like 100 million.
I'm allegedly saying this. Look into the Rotary Club, look into Jared Birchall, look into Elon Musk, and look into the stuff we talked about today. And allegedly, you might go down a rabbit hole.
I will look into that. I wrote all that shit down you just said, so
I can come on too for sure,
yeah,
but it's crazy.
We'll do an
Yeah.
we could do a uncensored one on Rumbles where we could talk about whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
there we
we'll
go.
still have 40,000 people watch the video, so it don't
Yeah.
matter.
Yep.
That's
It's
interesting.
very interesting. Yeah.
Oh my
I got a
god.
question for you guys as ex-Mormons, because here's a big conspiracy. And it's been in the Donut. I'm sure you've heard of it, Paranoid American. I know you've probably heard of this. There was like these videos back in the day that used to go viral of an ex-Mormon whistleblower that he said the Mormons were involved in some type of witchcraft in the music industry where they were binding certain energies to the master tapes. They would take them into the Mormon temples. You guys remember that conspiracy?
Yep.
This is a John Todd
with the pink
conspiracy.
room. This is this actually goes into what I said about the paper dolls and cowboy boots conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy, it's an allegation that had to be dropped because the time frame was too long. You guys need to look at that. And David Levitt, allegedly, who moved to Scotland, not alleged, he ran away. And the fact that he's not a cannibal because he said so on TV. So yeah,
Right.
yep, I did hear.
Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff with that one. So what do you think about it, Joe? Do you think it's just bullshit, conspiracy?
I don't know about that. I like, and I don't, not just saying that, I am actually unaware of that.
Well,
that
yeah,
one
this was a big one. Like the main video, if you look it up, if you can even find it anymore, it's probably got 200 million views on the damn thing. It went all the way. I mean, it was huge. Usually when stuff like that happens, I kind of step away from it because they control what goes viral. So it makes me think like, I don't know. But I also don't trust, me personally, I don't trust any religious institutions. And with that being said, I believe in the creator. I just don't trust organized man religious institutions.
That's how I am as well. And Tommy, I want to tell you, to your point, that whole issue that I just said about the paper dolls and the allegations that were brought against him, it was a court case. It was dropped. It is against the current president, prophet, seer, and revelator of the church's daughter and her husband, Russell M. Nelson's daughter. Wow. And Russell M. Nelson is a member of the Skull and Bones Society, Utah chapter started by Yale's Skull and Bones Society shortly after, I think it was maybe 18 years after they started theirs. But the brothers from Yale's society came out and started the one at the University of Utah. And so it is, he's part of that and part of Alan Key instead of Scroll and Key. So Donut may know something about this as well. There we go.
He totally.
So
yeah,
Mike,
that totally. That's
is
totally
your mic
something.
not working still, Donut? Is your mic not working?
You just got it muted.
No, it's not. It's broken.
You're good.
Oh, there you are.
Sounds great.
There you are.
Oh, thank goodness. I was worried I couldn't hear you because for some other reason, but it's broken.
It's coming from my computer.
Oh, okay.
I've been using the $25 microphone. Don't work no more.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that one, dude.
Got to upgrade.
We
I
still
like-
love you, Donut.
I like what you guys are talking about. I've been listening, and I've been studying the mafia stuff as well. Can you hear me better if I'm closer like this?
No,
we can hear you.
It's about the same.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's the
about
same.
I've been doing some research, reading some books from some researchers. I wouldn't even consider myself a researcher compared to the books that I've read because they're so deep. People have done the work on the mafia connections in religious institutions. And see, me, I'm a big fan of Mormons, Catholics, Jews. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pro-religion. I think that people should, and atheists as well. I feel like
He's a fan. If you have money and soldiers, he's a fan of you. You're all right in his
There
book.
we go.
Well, no, it should be, any free country should be freedom of expression, freedom of belief.
Absolutely.
If not, what are we doing? Are we communists now? You know, we can't,
Maybe, but
I just want to notate that
they kill atheists too, just to let you know, Joe, communists.
communists?
What were
Well,
you
it
saying, Donut?
depends on the communists you're talking about, but yeah.
Uh-oh.
You guys don't
I mean,
fare well in
the
any
Mormons.
Uh-oh. Wait,
And then he says-
Donut wants to say something. What was
Oh,
that, Donut?
Next up, Henrik, told you. I just wanted to make that clear though, before because I've been studying the institutions and I never really wanted to bring up the institutions, but now it seems like the institutions are forcing our hands to talk about religion. And religion, what it is in an imprinted level through our nervous system. It's something that you can't just shake off. It's built in there like a culture. Give me the child at till 7, you show you the man, the famous, I don't know if it was Aristotle or whoever said that. It's the same thing when you write in your journal. If you write your problems today, all the stuff is the same stuff you would write when you were 7 years old. And this is a lot when the imprinting happens. And it's different than brainwashing as a cult. If I want to go join a cult, I can snap out of that rather than if I was put into a cult at a younger age. Somewhere stuck in the autonomic nervous system. So I believe that the elite understand that people are imprinted through where they're born. If I ended up being born in Africa, I'd have a different religion than if I was born in America. So
we're very tribal.
Know that we're very tribal. Yeah, that's what sports are. Sports are just tribal warfare, and we're also kind of sick in the head as well, and we're also very spiritual as well. It's this weird dynamic. So
yeah, we want to kill anybody that's not exactly like us, right? But then we talk love and peace. It is a very weird dynamic.
Love and peace as long as you follow my religion.
Right.
My thing is, as long as it's not corruption, right? Because absolute power corrupts absolutely. And at the top of every religion or faction or government or whatever it is, when you're hurting people, and there's cults inside cults, which I truly believe about Mormonism, because like I've known a lot of good, nice Mormon people, man. My grandma's a Mormon. I was raised in it. I have Mormon DNA. Like this was from birth for me. And I'm just saying, like, not everybody knows the stuff just at the top, Jewish and people. That's truth. Yes, it's true for everything that
and Freemasons
gets into a faction.
And Freemason.
Yeah. There's bad people. Yeah, there's bad people everywhere, and they give everyone else a bad name. And so, yeah.
And so, like something that Heidi and I have talked about this.
That comment though.
I didn't. I'm sorry. What was that?
I said, well, I'll get crucified for that comment, though. The Freemason part, yeah.
You know what? I don't care. I stand up for everybody. Like
he's my friend. America's my friend. I don't give a shit what
he's my friend.
You know, he was a scholar.
He knows it.
Remember, I try to get inside info from him, though. I'm always trying.
So you guys are going to be spared from the first big wave of the culling. I've put a good word in for all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
I need it.
Spared us.
I'll be needing it.
You're going to have to get a chip.
Look,
that's the only
look, he's going to cover the Freemason end. I'll cover the Christian end. Tommy will cover Christian end. Donut can cover the Jewish end. We'll be good.
No, I'm not.
I'll be the atheist. I'll be the atheist who pops in at the end and says all bullshit. One God further.
No one needs them.
A lot of people leave out the Knights of Malta, which is super fascinating because Alan Dulles, CIA creator, was part of that. Skull and Bones was a Catholic order, I believe. Now it's a super sus order. Where
Rothschild, Papal Knight of Malta too.
So that's the thing. So the Rothschilds are Knights of Malta. So why are the Jewish bankers connected to a Catholic order? It doesn't make any sense.
Why are the Mormons connected to a Catholic order? That's weird.
It's
right?
Camouflage. Yeah. So this is the camouflage. This is the owl. The owl can hide.
Owl and key is what the Mormons call theirs, by the way. Not scroll and key, owl and key.
That sounds
not like Allen key, not like you use, not like the little hexagonal tools. Owl and key.
Owl.
Minerva.
Minerva.
I'm curious. I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over anything. I'm trying to get this in casual here. But what do the Nevermos? I don't know if you guys are Never Mormons or like casual Mormons or whatever. But what do people who are in the, use a polite word, conspiracy theory aligned interest group aware of Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad and the scandal evolving around that, whether it's to do with the Freemason side or more importantly to do with the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell.
We can't talk about that today,
Connected.
Joe.
I
Oh, sorry.
all that is
We
just
can't
a grift. I look at it as a huge grift, just like all these red pillars that are connected to the United Nations and Homeland Security. I just look at it as a great way to make money. Look, the whole Q thing was popping. Let's jump on this bandwagon, make a money. They made a ton of money.
Millions. I know people that became millionaires from that movement. Seriously.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it was this massive money grab, and now nothing they said ever came true. It was an algorithmic wipeout. You used any of them hashtags, all them content creators are gone. But most people are too stupid to realize that shit, don't I?
Tommy, we're supposed to wait for the plan.
Yeah. Sit on the couch and wait for that plan. Let me know how that works out for you.
Oh
They're
my
still
gosh.
waiting on it today. You know what I mean?
No, it was sad. I
What
shouldn't
we're
laugh.
talking about, it's like them freshly red pill people that they really don't they think they know what's going on, but they don't.
No, I think Donut's right. This all goes back to super old, like factions back in the day that are still here, that are underground, that nobody knows about, and they're actually just calling it something else. Like, you know.
Yeah, and they're not dedicated to a religion, like a religious person, or a land like France. A lot of these mafia cults, a lot of the history comes out through France. Why are they destroying France then? Why do they like ship in people to cause chaos? Because they're not dedicated to the land. Kind of like someone who's MAGA would be connected to America land. The elites, they don't care about the land. They go to another country, watch it burn, send the AI drones, clean it all up, and then come back in. Like they're not nationalistic in a sense like that.
They actually hate the national movement, and they don't want us to have pride in where we live and stuff like that.
And when I say I'm like I don't like politics at all, let's be anarchists. I don't mean I don't love America. I mean I don't love where politics has gone.
Yeah,
I don't like
politics. I absolutely hate it. But I'm as far as my morals, I would consider myself more pro-life, conservative leaning. But I'm not a Republican. I would never promote that. I would never. I mean, it's divide and conquer. Red and blue.
We can't vote our way out of this. This is a disaster. Like there's no way to do that because it's selected, not elected, and they have a plan, and their plans are going to continue. And this plan has been coming for a long time. This goes back to France. Yeah,
it's a digital currency, and you won't be able to buy, sell, or trade eventually. It doesn't have nothing to do with religion. It's about power. Forget the religious part of it. It's about power. Just like China, they have a social credit score over there. That's what they're implementing everywhere. So if you want to know what's coming to America, look over to China, because that's the new world order where they test everything.
So Japan as well. The men there just do not leave the house. They're addicted to the screens, and their family brings them food, and then the birth rate's collapsing. And that's what's going to happen to America. It's already happening with me. I can't leave my house. I just say Uber Eats and on the computer on Twitter. So we can see it happening in America.
It is. He's right, though. It is, and we know
now they got AI porn. They don't even need people to like do anything anymore.
My friend, he brought up a very interesting point. He was all like, "Is it cheating if you're looking at AI, naughty AI, because it's not a human?" So
Jesus did say you have to look at a woman with lust in your heart, and if
that
it's
goes
not
to
a
the
woman,
homunculus and the old
digital,
Jewish alchemy. I don't know.
Yeah, you're talking the golem. What was it called?
Yep, homunculus.
A golem where they would put they could
Where's Juan?
They could bring the thing to life with a
Juan won't come because I'm here.
Thing on its forehead. It's kind of like that, though, ain't it? The homunculus or the golem of modern day. That is what AI is creating.
I mean, this is one of my favorite things to nitpick at, though, because that whatever you were just mentioning, Donut, right? Like, is it cheating or whatever? But what would be the difference between you just drew something really well? You were like a masterful artist and you painted that thing that you're talking about. Like, where's the exact line between, oh, well, a computer did it? Like, which one is it less moral because you get turned on by a painting that someone spent 8 months working on? Or if some, weeb in the basement hit generate and they waited 8 seconds, is there like a real line between those two?
Now, I don't know if this article was fake, but it was in Utah that the most watched naughty websites come out of Utah.
Yep, it's
I
true.
could see
No,
that,
it's real. That's real because you
I don't know
suppress
about
people
that,
and then they go
but
crazy.
Yes.
There's an article that goes over like the people who look at porn websites and in Utah, what their most common search trends were, and it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for those of us who are living in Utah.
I just want to say
Well,
it would be awesome if
Mother
everyone
porn?
here that uses VPNs always set your VPN to Salt Lake City before you do anything naughty online, just to keep
Yes.
skewing those results.
Yeah. Where am I?
The
I'm on a
information's
right
out
now.
there.
Where am I?
The
Oh, I'm
statistics-
Have your name be elder, whatever your name is, or prophet, seer, and revelator.
the statistics are out there where we can look at different countries, what they're looking at, how people react, and countries that have freedom of looking at the naughty websites have lower cases of the R, have lower cases of violence and stuff like that, especially naughty violence of the R drops. I mean, it's significant with legalization of the naughty websites. So it's interesting how the alt-right wants to get rid of freedom of that. You know what I mean? They want to get rid of those websites and bring it more of like in Asia. In Asia, for example, in Singapore, I was not able to look at any naughty websites when I was out there.
For research purposes, I assume.
It's
Obviously.
illegal.
Are we saying naughty websites because we might get flagged if we say porn? Is that or
Yeah,
is that just like
I usually don't say that. Yeah.
okay?
Don't say that
I
word.
got it. All right, sorry.
Because I talk a lot about the naughty statistics, and it's just the funniest statistic is how the conservatives are most likely to cross-dress as a woman. But this doesn't mean that they're same-sex attracted, though, because the conservatives aren't as much same-sex attracted, but they do like to dress up as women, which I thought was hilarious. And the top searches for what they're looking at is the trans stuff. That is a big thing that everybody be looking at from
Lesbian
the
is
left to right.
number one. I'm looking at it right now. It says lesbian porn.
Lesbian. I don't. That wasn't in the books I read.
That's what New York Times said. So that's the word they used. I don't know if I'm allowed to use that or not, but
The report I said that the number one search was
Here's the
a
link.
massage parlor, and I'm like, really? That's the part where I said it's embarrassing. It's like that's what y'all are looking at: massage parlors and happy endings. Are you serious?
the scary one, guys. The scary one is the mom porn. Like, who is looking up mom on son? That's what freaks me out.
Ew.
The top one for men is like one of them is cuckolding, and there's a reason why is because men look because what you're doing when you're watching this, you're pretty much you're not participating. You're observing, kind of like in the Illuminati party in Eyes Wide Shut, where there was just people watching. So that's what you're pretty much doing. You're Illuminati partying, watching it.
Oh man!
And so it's pretty much the same thing as being cuckolded. So that's why that search porn of people sleeping with my wife is the most searched out.
My mom, bro.
Okay.
Yeah,
so here's
we're
the
getting
thing.
into Jack Parsons land here, and it's
Like,
uncomfortable.
who would even think of
So,
something
like,
like that?
The reason why I had mentioned that with the Tim Ballard thing actually kind of connects to this subject, because what happens is that Tim Ballard has been pushing to people for a long time this Mormon cult within a cult, which is based around this book Visions of Glory, and this guy Tom Harrison, who is an addiction therapy, a naughty site addiction therapy guy, who's now so far out there. I mean, basically, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, it's just well known they are disciples of his. But other people connected to him include Tim Ballard, include who's been pushing his stuff to Operation Underground
Who's
Railroad
also
people.
who now is with the Catholic Church, by the way.
Right.
Go for it.
Right. And that's the thing, because the Mormon Church kicked him out. When the Mormon Church starts kicking people out, besides me, I was kicked out for being atheist. But I pointed just now to my
And
excommunication
Jacob
letter, which is
Isbell.
framed
Jacob
on my wall.
Isbell. Yeah.
Right. It's a lot of time, but generally the Mormon Church doesn't go after excommunicating people unless there's something that the church is like specifically like, okay, well, if it ever gets out to the media that we're connected to this guy and what he's doing, we're going to get into trouble. So we're going to, otherwise they don't want to kick anybody out. They want everybody's tithing dollars. Right. And so they kicked out Tim Ballard. He's been trying to clean up his image because that's when it started to come out that the whole reason he shifted over from taking money from wealthy Mormons like Paul. Well, maybe I won't say names, but now we're officially not saying names. But Paul Hutchinson. Once he stopped taking money from them because he was outed for the fact.
By the way, you be careful.
Oh, sorry. He was a great man and a patriot and handsome, frankly. And then.
Nice recovery.
But then started going to QAnon conferences and getting the whole. Can you say QAnon? Is that a naughty word?
He started away from it.
Those are naughty words, don't you?
Okay.
All
right.
Naughty word you say.
Yes. Okay. But once he started,
bud. I'm just joking. I'm busting your balls, bro.
Where's that? Who's talking?
He heard a noise. It's the spirit behind him. Jeez. Dark spirit.
Seriously, my Mac just started talking to me. Like said something about don't say that.
Joseph Smith's spirit, the occult. Just kidding.
That was weird. That was super weird. And
you know what
they're listening. They're always listening. But he started going to the alt-right crowd and selling Sound of Freedom and all of that, all of his bullshit about that. When the Mormons stopped giving him money, and there's still some Mormons who are totally tied up in that.
In the Sound of Freedom, they're all them people are all fucking controlled opposition too.
Yep.
We did a video that went viral on them. They tried to sue me. They actually got my website taken down. Swear to God, for a whole day. I had to reach out to their lawyers and everything. Yep. They tried to sue my ass.
You have to say allegedly after everything because it goes into all the attorneys and attorney generals and everybody.
My attorney was better though. That video's still up in my website's back.
Yeah. You got.
I would actually.
You did, I think. One of our first conspiracy cinemas. Remember, we got in big trouble for it.
Yeah, well, I want to. Without getting myself in trouble again.
Oh my gosh!
My Ballard conspiracy in the most simple and sanitized terms is just that movie was created so that everyone could like vicariously just get it out of their system. It's like. You know that there's these networks going on. You know this international trade is happening. People they didn't get quelled just because they took Epstein out and they knocked them off. It was still like people wanted to know about it. So this freaking movie comes out, and now you watch the movie and you're like, oh, thank God that Ballard took care of that problem for me. Like, how couldn't have? I lived through the experience. Like, I feel that. It's no longer a problem and you can move on.
He did channel Nephi in his ketamine treatments to talk allegedly to talk to the angels so that he could know that. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Well, that's the conspiracy now, paranoid, that they have wiped out all them groups and that the white hats are in control of everything now. The white hats are in control of HARP. There's no more directed energy weapons. The white hats are in control of CERN. That's part of their whole bullshit narrative,
What do you say, Donut? What do you say, Donut?
What doesn't the Pope wear a white hat?
Well, that guy's got so many hats.
He's got hats on hats.
He's got more hats than a rapper.
He's definitely got a Dagon hat, that's for sure.
Everything about the Pope is a bit hat on a hat.
The Jews wear the black hat, the yarmulke, right? And the Pope wears the white yarmulke.
Maybe it comes from that. Maybe the white and black hat thing might stem from that too. Who knows?
Fear of a black hat.
Mad Hatter Club for sure. Yeah.
Could be an element of truth to that because the real people that run shit, they love to demonize other groups and get you to focus on them when really, you know what I'm saying? That's just part of their hustle.
Yep. That's like what I said about the real gangsters. You'll never know.
the thing that's crazy for me is I've been researching the religious institutions, and I've always just said what Jordan Maxwell said is don't go after the people, highlighting people. You could talk about the institutions because they're corrupt. And there is this camouflage elements that want bloodshed rituals. Nobody's dedicated to their religion or land. They just move around, changing from Mormon, like this Billard guy, to whatever he is now. So making that clear about the people and the institutions separately. Now we got mainstream, like Andrew Tate, 10 million followers minimum on X. Candace Owens, huge following, fully monetized, endorsed by the most popular artist in the world, Kanye. And also the second.
Well, and wasn't she a young leader in the young new?
Well, she was a young. She doxed people for a
leader.
She she created a website to dox people, so it was like an information intelligence collecting.
But she was part of the Young Global Leaders.
I don't know what that is. That's like a World Economic Forum kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Check
so
that
that's
out.
weird.
Allegedly.
And then
Allegedly.
like
Probably not.
early things is moms connected to the United Nations. The Red Pill channel is connected to the Homeland Security, and they're all going after Jewish people, not the institutions. They're going after me and
the people.
Kanye said it in caps.
Kanye promoted that whole movement.
Really?
On October 8th, 1 year later, October 7th, the Middle East war kicked off. And I just been watching it for like 2 years. Like, this is messed up. Like, all these institutions. And all I said was pray for the Middle East, pray for the Muslims, pray for the Jews. It's been over 2 years of this. And now Dan Bilzerian, who's this famous guy, is calling Jews parasites, just all this anti-Semitic stuff like that. And like his arguments, I know the arguments that they're saying, but the thing is, what they're doing is they're all neophytes to religions. So they're picking these different institutions to join up with to pin each other against. It's so obvious that I feel like I gotta talk about it a little bit because it's a huge Illuminati move that's being pulled right now, and so many people are falling for it. And even me talking about it, then I get labeled all these things that are untrue. Like, I've never pushed any type of political. That's not what my channel is about. It's about political religion or anything. I'm just about symbolism. And this is a big thing, is Jordan Maxwell's saying of everything political is a little religious, everything religious is a little political. There's a mixture of both of them. And all the different religious institutions are connected to mafias. So there's different mafias. There's Jewish mafia, Italian mafia. I didn't know there was Mormon mafia, but so there's all these different mafias, because mafias are secret societies. And this is something I'm interested in, is the secret society elements, because that's who actually controls the world. And these secret society elements, they might look like they're fighting each other. They might, have a little battle, but they end up working because it's multifaceted. It's not, you can't just claim, oh, it's me because I'm Jewish, so I'm the one in control of it. And there's a long history. They're kicked out of 109 countries. Like, there's no thinking allowed. It's you point to that, that's, it's much deeper than that. But
they really made that whole thing popular that you just mentioned about them being kicked out of countries. They said they were sacrificing Christian children, and that all came from that Synagogue of Satan book, which he's a Russian agent. I read the whole book. I told you about it, my experience. I said, dude, he was quoting shit in there that I know for a fact ain't true. Like, I thought the whole thing with the 3 letters to World War III and Albert Pike was real until me and Paranoid American got in a fight about it, and it made me go research it. And then I'm like, oh shit, Paranoid American's onto something. There is some deception going on.
We just talked about this, huh, Thomas?
I just texted always. It's my favorite topic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me and him got into an argument about it kind of on our show before. Nothing too bad, but we you know, the fans loved it.
There's no proof of that letter.
No, there's
And
no.
to the agent part, I just want you guys to know Mormons in Utah is one of the biggest recruitment places for the 3-letter agencies. And there are multiple places here that are I have an FBI center maybe 15 miles from me. Like it's a big thing here. And me and Paranoid have talked about this before, but it's huge. And Andreas has talked about it before about recruitment when we've been talking. And I just find that interesting. I mean, a lot of times they like that they don't drink, they don't smoke, they look clean on paper, they don't usually have tattoos, and they usually speak another language because they serve an LDS mission at 18 and a lot of times learn a second language.
Sounds like the Jews.
Another thing is, well, another thing that's interesting about that keeps coming up in my shows, my at Hellfire Agency. I do this series, and we've talked about this about Ted Bundy and about murders among the Mormons, and
Ted Bundy was a Mormon.
He was a Mormon.
Right.
Yeah. He was a Mormon.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. He didn't start out a Mormon. He came to Utah to carry on his activities, but he was engaged to be married to a Jack Mormon who was from Utah.
That means
he
not
used to
active.
give her
Yeah.
right that she's not living like a Mormon, but she's still on the rolls of the church somewhere. But he used to give her these little credulity tests, like he would leave weapons out for her to find. Allegedly, he'd leave weapons out for her to find, and when she would confront him, he'd be like, "What are you accusing me of?" and give her some really BS reason just to see how she would respond. And when she goes, "Well, Ted, if you tell me that's what that is, that's all you have to say, whatever." And then he's like, "I'm going to college in Utah. I'm going to go to law school in Utah," and that's where. Right. They were credulity. It was credulity tests. And he used to do that with his victims too. He would give them something totally BS, is totally unbelievable, to be totally incredulous about. And when they bought it, he's like, "You're a mark." And he'd go for them. And and this keeps coming up again, like with the Tim Ballard thing. Tim Ballard is like, if he can sell you on that naughty website addiction is real and it's pervasive and it's the biggest problem in our world today and people go for it. He's like, yeah, so let's talk about how you can give me some money. And then money starts coming in, is all of these, there are these incredulity tests that people take advantage of other people if they know and can tell through certain signals you are a person who doesn't do critical thinking very well. So it's interesting that J. Edgar Hoover, when he started to really kick up recruitment into the FBI in earnest, he would tell people, "Oh, I like these Mormons." It was obviously he liked Mormons because they didn't drink, and the FBI was institutionalized supposedly to enforce prohibition. But long after prohibition was over, they kept on recruiting and then the Mormons would recruit each other into it, to where it's now just a joke that in the FBI you can't throw a rock without hitting a Mormon. So it's like, I mean, there's this whole thing really comes down to me as and I am an atheist, so full disclosure there. But
you can say Satanist too. You don't have to hide behind that.
He's not a Satanist.
The Prince of Darkness, the Prince of Darkness, and I just want everybody to know that everybody should be using critical thinking, and we need to. The fact of the matter is that they know that there is a culture in this country and all over the world, frankly, of people who just have very poor critical thinking skills, and there are people who just prey upon these people all the time, whether that's for the devil or not. The devil and I say no, but you can believe what you want, but it's definitely to get money.
That's one thing I really agree with Joe about right there. I do definitely agree with that. They
like I say, the top level, the top levels are always going to be corrupt of anything, period.
I mean,
and
the whole Q movement was proof of that they prey on that type of people.
100.
The what movement?
The Q movement.
The Q.
Oh yeah. Oh, I agree 100%. That we agree on something definite. That's exactly what's going on. That there are a group of people out there who are desperate to believe something and will believe it if it confirms their bias and are ready to take whatever little amount of money they have and give it to. Here's the thing: if people out there scamming rich people, I don't care. But if they're out there ripping off ordinary working class people and taking what little money these people have because they know these people will give it because they'll believe anything that sounds dark enough, then that's where we ought to be really concerned about how lack of proper critical thinking education has become a crisis in this country, frankly. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. The abuse, any abuse of anybody, I don't care like what denomination or color or anything, it's just not okay. And the fact is, I think Tommy said it, or maybe Donut said it, it's all controlled anyways. Like they are playing with us. They are playing with us. And that's the point, is if you follow any millionaire or especially a billionaire, you're going to find a road that's probably not pretty. Let's get real. These people don't love you. Like, no one's saving you that way. Like,
And
that's just not.
And Heidi, there probably is something, honey, going on with the billionaire class right now, because they know the economy's getting ready to crash. Look, when the whole code red, and if you don't know what code red is, go to occultdecodes.com and look at the banned word list. So when the code red came out and we were all on lockdowns, remember, all them billionaires were stepping down. All the CEOs were stepping down, but they linked it to the Q movement. They said, oh, that's because they're getting arrested. Military tribunals, which all was a lie. You know, none of them got arrested. They're all still alive. Now, here's the new theory. They're saying, oh, yeah, that's their clone. They've been cloned. You know, and I even believe in cloning. But I don't believe that. That sounds so stupid to me. Like, now we're just going to say, oh, yeah, that person was killed in a military tribunal, but now that's his clone. That's not even the real Joe Biden, or that's not the real Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? That's right to me.
They know everything before it pops off, and they're all in this together, whether they're from, you know, the top of the mafia or the Jewish religion or the Mormon religion, or I don't care what. If you're at the top level and you're loaded like billionaire, you know some shit like that we're never gonna know.
Well, it's even beyond that, honey. It's these people that are really running shit, they're not billionaires, they're trillionaires. You know what I'm saying? There's only a handful of them in this country, and they own 99% of all the wealth on this planet. That's who you need to look up. Look up who the trillionaires are, and them are the people running shit.
See, now you're talking to me. See, now Tommy found the key to my heart. That's what I'm
trying.
Go ahead.
It's like, there is different levels of commonwealth. And the commonwealth is like the kings and the queens because they have a allodial title. Monsters are us because we don't have a allodial title, which means that we own the land, so we pay property tax or whatever. So if you kind of look up who's a trillionaire, nothing will really pop up through the fiat currency. But when you add in all the land that they own, the commonwealth, the art, which is a huge money laundering front, the art world, and mind control front.
Well, Donut, what you're talking about, I mean, think of this.
I'm okay with honey. It's okay.
And think about this, bro. Even with the bankers, and they give that stigma, all bankers are Jewish. I know many trillionaire bankers, they ain't fucking Jewish. So, but with the bankers, what do? They inflate the dollar. They get, it's all inflation. Then they get us into debt, and then they come and steal your land and steal your house and steal the real wealth. That's the real wealth that they're taking.
Yeah.
Well, also the Federal Reserve, there was only like one Jewish family part of that. The rest were Gentile, I believe.
Yeah, a lot of the banking families are.
Well, maybe because you've got the Warburgs, for sure, is one of the main families.
That's the Jewish family.
But there's a lot of without going on with
Rockefellers really are too, but who knows if that's true?
Rockefellers, but also there's a lot of claims that a lot of the Morgan money came directly from the Rothschilds, and that the Morgan family was mostly like a proxy for Rothschilds spending their money without them literally spending their money, because there's still a stigma about them spending money. Like, even though the Balfour Declaration hadn't even really been established at that point, right? So there was very much a taboo about Jewish people investing in huge ways in like countries up until the Balfour kind of got passed and like the state of Israel gets declared and all this. But that is prior to all this. So yeah, I don't know how much meat there is to those bones, but that is very often claimed.
Paranoid, no one's sticking up for them. I mean, Even donut don't.
I'm just saying that there was a lot of different angles into that Federal Reserve. Even Joseph Pulitzer, which I think might have been an atheist. So maybe that was just like an old Joe. Like Joe, you love Pulitzer, right? And his yellow journalism.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I don't mean to throw a
But
cheap
what about
shot.
the Titanic, bro? All them people that died during the Titanic, you know, a lot of them opposed the Federal Reserve, and then they all died. Them were like the billionaires that kind of were for America and the normal currency that was there at that point. And then, you know, they set up Jekyll Island after all that, and that's where they did all that. And let me tell you something, where they did that meeting at Jekyll Island, there is some ancient like burial ground there over top of where they did it. It's some weird shit.
And it's called Indian Burial Mound, and they thought that it was like discarded shells from when they were like eating, but then they found that there was also like skeletal remains under that, and that was literally I think that was the Rockefeller mansion that's built right. I mean, they're all the houses are like really close to each other on Jekyll Island.
Look, they carry their own blood supply everywhere they go. I don't trust them. Gross. No. Look it up. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, they carry their own blood supply everywhere they go.
Well, because most of them are Rh negative, and if they don't
exactly
blood supply, they can't transfer blood from you, which I'm Rh negative too. If I try to get blood from you, it would kill me. You know what I mean?
Right. But I'm just saying, like,
I think that's what a lot of it is, though. It's because of that. And there's many theories on the Rh negative.
Oh, I have gone down that whole rabbit hole. I just did I did one on Reality Czars about the cabbage babies, and I go deep into that. Like, I love a good conspiracy theory. Like,
people
but
told me
I think
Nephilim, all kinds of shit because of the Rh negative. I don't really know.
Yeah,
I don't feel like a damn Nephilim, but who knows? You know?
Well, I will say this. I do think they've manipulated our DNA. I do think that has occurred and isn't a big surprise to anybody at this point. I mean, how many kids has Elon Musk made in little tubes? Like, named them XYLMNOP? Like, I don't know, but I think it's 12. I think it's 12.
They say the Cabbage Patch Babies were like, there's this whole theory about it, but kind of.
Oh, I got you.
You know what I'm talking about?
I got you. I do a show. Yeah, I do a whole thing on that. Yes.
I don't know if that's
with the orphan trains and the incubator babies and the cabbage babies and the
I was
and the
also
genetic
an incubator
manipulation.
baby, by the way. I just have to always throw that one out there.
Remember, we're not talking about the incubator itself. We're talking about
one of the good ones. I'm one of the good.
Yeah, you weren't at the
ones.
World's Fair. You're too young.
Also a good incubator baby.
Guys, let me tell you something. Remember that video that went viral? Everybody was sharing with babies being born in like them look
the
like
pods.
Yeah, that was all fake. It was AI generated video that went viral. I found because I thought it was real too, and you know then I've learned to not just share things from other truth seekers because most of them are either morons or they just recycle shit and they're like parrots. They repeat things.
But if they show it to you, you know that they've like for them to figure out a test.
Oh yeah, they showed it for a reason. They let it go viral for a reason.
Yes, that wasn't true for sure. But like the fact is like the Hindus figured out how to make a test tube baby way before us. And it's not just putting two things in a petri dish. You have to have a zinc spark. You have to have I'm a registered nurse too. And so when I study this stuff, I go deep on the medical side and I'll tell you there's some interesting stuff with it. And any technology that we receive is way late down the road. And also I never took a jab, nor would I ever receive one. So just saying that, don't come at me just because I'm a nurse.
So speaking of that, you got this big Hanuman monkey statue, 72 feet, the third tallest statue built of a monkey while all this monkey stuff is happening. That's interesting.
Yep. I think that they put into
it's
the
interesting that
72
feet too,
you know. Yeah, it's all loosh and it's all you get enough people to believe a certain thing. Like, I don't know, like the common cold could kill you. And it's super dangerous and certain things like that. And then everybody believes it. And then they stand 6 feet apart like they do in the OTO and wear face covering. That's fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I did a video with Juan.
It is part of some witchcraft shit. It really is.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm being silly. No, it's true.
I
What
did
were
a
you saying,
Green
Donut?
donut.
Oh, I just did a video with Juan on the homunculus before anybody talked about it. I like to just flex right there for a second.
I love Juan, but I'd love to do a video with Juan.
Juan is the best. I just talked to him
I'm
yesterday.
trying to build my esteem up, and yesterday I had a really esteemful like situation. I guess I don't know, confident situation where I was talking to my mom, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Trump's going to be speaking here, and RFK going to open up for him for sure." And I told her that, and then because he dropped like out the day before, so it was just like, well, obviously, like he's going to be the special guest, and then that did happen. So I was like, oh, I was right. And it's like the people I care about a lot, like my parents, right? So I was like, so I said that, I was like, I was correct. And then with my dad, we were watching the TV, and this was on February 22nd, 222, and Joe Biden was going to come out, and I was like, he's going to come out at 222 exactly, and then he did. So then, like, I was like, oh yeah. But
that was a crazy time.
He's a prophet.
He's
a regular prophet.
That was right before your birthday. That's when the Texas fire started. All that crazy.
Well,
shit.
that was the war. That was the day the war kicked off with.
Because your birthday was like 4 days later, right? 26th.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. No, my
always
Happy birthday
on YouTube, though. You know.
birthday.
But you know, it's interesting to me as far as like one of the things that doesn't get, I feel like doesn't get enough coverage. Again, I don't jump for a conspiracy theory, but this is weird, is how law enforcement inefficiency bleeds over from this is just, some branches of our law enforcement in this country are just, they're crap. They're not very smart. They don't know what they're doing. And over into, well, now, wait a minute. This is weird because this keeps coming up, becoming a problem. I'm releasing today a 2-hour episode where I interviewed the guy who has written more books on Ted Bundy than anybody else. And we talked at length about how Ted Bundy just relied on the fact that in Utah, most of the law enforcement in Utah just had no idea what they were doing. They were just a bunch of hit cops who had no idea how to investigate and how to talk to each other. I said, but then you look at this. I pointed out a few things. I'm like, what do you know about Tim Ballard? And he's like, I don't even know who that is. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I'm like, let me point out to this Utah County Sheriff's Office and all these things that how they basically let Bundy get away with everything he did in Utah County. And said there's the same group, the same department, completely new leadership, the same problems over here with Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad. And he's like, are you kidding me right now? He's like, did they learn nothing in 50 years? I said, it's almost as if there's an effort to not find out what's going on. He's like, I got to tell you, he's like, I've had that. He's like, I've been investigating Bundy for 30 years and he's written like 12 books on Ted Bundy. And he's like, and that is the thing that keeps coming up in Utah over and over again is this goes from being, they're very bad at enforcing the law over into, are they protecting him? Are they is it because Bundy joined the church? Do they know that Bundy joined the church?
Or did Bundy join the CIA or not? Or I'm crazy. I'm just saying. No proof of that. I'm just saying it's interesting thought. It's an interesting
that was the line that made Donut disappear. He was like,
no, that was
okay,
tight.
maybe another one.
Right.
Another 3-letter.
I got the stand-up desk.
What about
with the Ted Bundy thing? That was he working with the intelligence agencies?
Makes you wonder.
I don't think so, but
there's no confirmation. I'm a conspiracy theorist.
What about
at the end
Jeffrey
he was?
Dahmer?
He worked with the FBI.
Yeah,
they said Jeffrey Dahmer was involved in some type of cult. That
I've heard that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but they said he was part of a cult, and the dude was definitely freaking crazy. He used to watch The Exorcist every time he's about to drill into people's brains. I don't know what was going on with that dude, but
Well, they found
lot.
Anton LaVey's
Mhm.
Satanic Bible in his house, I believe, which is one of the claims for that. And he was also like staging an actual occult ritual in one of the rooms with the remains. But I always thought it was maybe funny in a morbid way. Imagine if you're like a Satanist, right? Like you join your local Temple of Satan, and you're like all edgy, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna go and do like protests, and we're gonna like really stick it in the church's eye. And then Dahmer shows up one day and he's like, hey, we should go and eat people. Like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
wondering, because it almost seems like he probably got kicked out and he was like, those guys aren't real. You know what I mean? Like, so when, like, was he part of a cult? Probably, but I can't imagine a single cult out there that would be like, yeah, come and join the fold. It was probably like, whoa, like, we didn't
What?
take it as serious as this.
What are we
Right.
doing? I'm out. Yeah.
But then, but bro, then when you find out about these elites, though, bud, and like that artist, me and you were talking about Paranoid. You did an amazing
Yeah,
breakdown.
Louise Bourgeois,
Man.
I think Bourgeois.
Break down real quick for people the connection with her to, like you did on my show before. Remember, there's like this crazy.
Yeah, so there's a weird like three-way cannibal connection with
Oh,
Dahmer and the
juicy.
Rockefeller family and this lady. I think her name is Louise Bourgeoisie. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's how it's spelled for sure. So she was the artist that made this famous sculpture that shows up in Podesta's collection, but it's someone with
Oh,
their
yeah,
back
yeah.
arched all the way. And I think this is called like the Arch of Madness or something like that. And it was
Mhm.
basically itself based on these medieval drawings of people having seizures and the way their backs and like their muscles would spasm. They'd always form like this very specific shape. So, anyways, she creates that thing basically around the exact same time that Dahmer is posing one of his victims in the same way. And one of the things that gets debunked, like, well, there's no connection because those police records weren't made public until after. But if she had access, and anyways, the cannibal connection here is she also had lots of cannibalistic artwork, which was fairly avant-garde for her time. It was kind of like made it somewhat unique. So here we've got an artist that is into cannibal artwork, and there's a real cannibal
Can
that
you
is
show
posing
the
bodies that are
images?
somewhat. And her
I
husband
know it. Yeah.
runs the wing of the Modern Museum of Art called the Rockefeller Wing, and it's named after I think his son who got eaten in like New Guinea or something. I can't remember which Rockefeller this was. Michael Rockefeller. So Michael C. Rockefeller, he's going to be like a philanthropist, explorer guy. He's going to go and bring all of their artwork into the Western world so people can like see this glimpse, and he's never seen from again. So anyways, it's an interesting connection between her husband runs the art wing named after a guy that died from cannibalism. She makes cannibalism artwork, and this most famous cannibal in American history also has artwork that is like strikingly similar. So that's the three-way interesting connection between all those.
Now, Paranoid, you know what that, to me, first thing that I think of, me and you, with the work we do, I know you probably had this thought before too, AI. I think of AI when I hear that story, how it's all connected, and, you know, it makes me think like, is there some type of AI running this whole damn thing for real? Are we in some type of simulation? Because AI, it does shit like that, you know, or it shows that it's all scripted and it's part of a major script that they're playing out on the world stage. Either way.
Right as you made that point, we were at exactly 322 viewers.
Was we? That's
Man.
That's interesting there. A little synchronicity for you. Here's a little breakdown too, guys. Donut mentioned that monkey statue 72 foot tall, right? Well, there's 72 names of God, 72 demons of the Ars Goethe in the Lesser Key of Solomon. And then you have harp's antenna. They're exactly 72 foot tall too. So there's something with that number, some sacred connection to that number, why they use it over and over.
And when you put the name of God, the 4-letter tetragrammaton, into a tetrachit pyramid, it equals 72 in gematria.
Yeah. Yahweh.
Or you can get 72 virgins, and there's 72 bricks on the back of the dollar, which is in the tetrachit.
Muslims say that's not true, though. It's nowhere in the Quran that they get 72 virgins.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I guess it's all
probably-
bullshit. It was all pushed by pretty much us, I guess. We started that.
Yeah, but the 72 in Gematria for the Tetragrammaton is for sure. I read that in the Manly P. Hall work, and you can see it on the back of the dollar bill.
It's very interesting to me, though, that in 2003 we find the tomb of Gilgamesh, right? So that, you guys remember that being actually the BBC was reporting on it and everything. They were talking about finding the tomb of Gilgamesh, and then next thing you know, we invade the exact location where they find it, and you never hear nothing about it again.
What's a Gilgamesh?
The tomb of Gilgamesh. There's even, if you look into wiki links,
Noah.
the email links, yeah, you look into the email links, there's some correspondence with Hillary Clinton talking about it. Like, we need to get that resurrection technology. She makes a reference to that in the email and shit. Matter of fact, if you guys want to see it, go on truthmafia.com, type in Gilgamesh in the search engine. I have all the links, all the evidence right there that shows you to the original story, where the story first broke at, who first broke the story. You know, I don't just say shit. I give you links and evidence to back it up.
And I just want to say,
yeah.
I just want to echo everybody else's opinions about painters and artists of dark surrealist art. I find them all very suspicious, very suspicious.
Like who?
Luis, is that who you're referencing?
Oh, you're talking about
Bouazi.
yeah, with the
I would also throw out
She's famous for her spiders, though, which is a representation of the Archon, I think. I think it plays into the Archon.
yeah, there were major
And
cities.
the god
New York
spider,
City.
the spider god too.
My influences are Beksinski and Giger more than anything else. So I actually
HR Geiger.
HR Giger is the man.
Giger?
I love his stuff.
Yeah,
He's a big influence on my.
Yeah. So did you see the new Alien? Because I look into the dolphin stuff, the dolphin symbology, and the xenomorph looks like it's coming from a dolphin head. So the dolphin head of the alien in Mars Attacks, the brain is very similar to a dolphin brain. And the John C. Lilly experiments for MK Ultra, he was experimenting with the dolphins, so they would go down to the ocean to communicate with the whales, so the whales will bring the information to Atlantis or something to communicate with the aliens. They were funded by the government too, by the way.
Of course.
The dolphin alien connection is super interesting. Even in the funny movie where the dolphins say thank you for all the fish and they go back up into space.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff with the dolphin. In the xenomorph is a dolphin. It looks very similar to it.
Well, in Donut, Paranoid, I tried to call you the other day. You don't ever answer your phone, by the way.
I answer, but as soon as I picked up, you stopped.
Yeah.
I
I'm
didn't call
not
back.
ringing 1,000 times, but I was calling you. I just watched that show, bro. I watched Aliens. I'm like, oh, I got to hit Paranoid. We got to do, because, bro, they show you how Prometheus is born. The engineers, it's born from a crossbreed between that thing. Donut's talking about the xenomorph breeding with the human, and then the engineer comes out of a human. She births it, and he like grows up real fast too, bro. Like in seconds, the son of a bitch is full grown. And then he goes over top of the girl, the mother. She has black goo dripping down out of her too, where she would have milk. You know what I'm saying? She's got black goo dripping down. It's crazy,
This
bro.
is a TV show based on
it's the
the
new
Alien movie.
Alien Romulus that just came out.
I didn't even know this
Yeah, it's in the
existed.
movie.
Yeah, it's the new
Because you didn't answer your phone.
Yeah, I know you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong.
But we did one of our first videos that went viral was the one we did on Prometheus. It got taken down, but
Specifically, the
I love
director's
Prometheus.
cut of the. Have you seen the
Yeah.
unaired like director's cut intro? Yeah, it changes
Prometheus
the
is
entire
so good.
movie.
I
Yeah.
got
Oh, it makes it so much better. I wish they'd kept so much more of that in because it was so much better with
you
the,
didn't even know about it, did you, bro? Till I sent you that shit.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, bro, if you are a fan of Prometheus, you got to watch this because they cut this whole part of the movie out. And it kind of tells the story of the black goo, the nanotechnology, what that really is. In the new Crow, there's this new movie called The Crow, right? And it's a play on the the Crow that came out. And I'm just going to give you all a hint. If you're not smart enough to figure it out, then you don't deserve to watch it for free. But CINE Zone. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, yeah. Don't go more than that.
Yeah, I'm not going no more than that. Just go take a gander. Type that in your search result. But in The Crow, it's all about the black goo, bro. And when he sells his soul, so he's like, okay, when you sell your soul, you can't come back from this. But he sells the soul for his girl, which is, they get killed together. And it's supposed to be like a traumatic death. That's why his soul can't rest. So he wants to sell his soul to get her out of hell. And the dude cuts his hand open and black goo starts coming out. He says this black goo, he calls it black blood, but he says this black blood will allow you to travel between worlds, which is so telling because I believe
like the story of Persephone, right?
Well, think of the black goo nanotechnology. I really believe it's some type of AI tech that maybe if they are working with some type of entities, it allows them to interface here in the physical. I mean, that's pretty much what they told you in the damn show. It allows them to travel between worlds. And he's talking about some fallen angelic entity that is
100% believe in that, about fallen angels. And
well, I'm talking in the actual movie. It's a fallen angel.
I'm talking real life.
He goes around and he tricks people into killing themselves. He possesses them. He whispers in their ear, and then they get demonically possessed, just like in Doja Cat. The movie where she's in the tub full of black goo and her eyes flip white, and then the demon comes up and pulls her under the black goo. That's her releasing and letting go to the demon, letting it take her over. They're showing
they all have these weird little, like other names for their stage presence and all this stuff. Like 100%
some alter ego, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They all tell you this too, right? So something's going on there.
Yep.
But yeah, the Crow is amazing, man.
I told my husband, I was like, we got to be worried about that actor because you know what happened to the old one. Like,
first 10 seconds
He's
of the
scary.
movie, and guess what they show you? First of all, the show opens up with the Pegasus flying in front of the eclipse. So the Pegasus we just seen in the Olympics, right? And then there's a horse, a white horse laying with copper, like he has like some type of barbed wire wrapped around his arm. And he's laying on the ground. So we keep seeing this white horse symbolism. It was in Those About to Die. It was in the Olympics, which he kind of represented the Pegasus. I don't.
Was that about the white horse prophecy? Joseph Smith's white horse prophecy?
You never know. Maybe
more than Joseph.
Who knows?
More than Joseph.
More
than Joseph.
Our Joseph was in a huge shootout.
Yeah. Like the OK Corral, wasn't it?
OG Gangster.
No, that's a different one.
Joseph was slaying women. In the bar.
The white horses with the apocalypse, though. The four.
Joseph Smith was in a shootout when he passed on in his last day.
Flat, and then he got shot. Right?
The Mormons painted as a big martyrdom scene, and then only the last couple of years, have come out with the truth that the Mormons had smuggled him and his brother in some pistols so that they could fight back, and they did. And basically, they died when they ran out of ammo. So. But yes, but Joseph Smith, just in the months before that,
do you know why Joseph died? Wait, because no one would help the widow's son.
Right.
Continue forth.
There was no help for the widow's son. That's a Freemasonry reference, people.
Sorry, it's a joke. If you're
making me seasick.
All right, Joe's out of here. Sorry, Joe. I warned him that there was no Freemason talk, and I'm just kidding.
That was me. That was my fault.
I was like, "What the hell, dude? What are you doing?"
If I'd have known that was what I wouldn't have spent all that time taking down all my dark surrealism art. If I'd have known that it was just mentioning Freemasonry again, that gets me.
No, but now I'm interested in what does the widows thing mean in the Freemason stuff.
Yeah, Paranoid American. What does that mean? What's that about, Paranoid American?
I don't think this is completely off limits because I've read a number of books that you can grab that were written by Freemasons that go into the history on this. It's the historical has all sorts of conjecture, but the reason that Masons seem to care about it is that The widow's son is like a hail that you can make as like a Hail Mary. And there was actually an episode of Talk Radio. I think that was the one that had Joe Rogan and David Spade or Andy Dick in it and stuff. But on that show, he actually does a great breakdown. He's making fun of it, but it's that if you're in court and you're up against a judge, you're a Mason, the judge is a Mason, even after the jury and everyone kind of like finds you guilty, or if it's looking not great for you, you can make this special Hail of the Widow's Son sign, and he's supposed to let you off. He'll just be like, you know what? I don't like any of the proof here. That guy looks like a great guy. Case closed. That's
Yep.
sort of the premise. And
Joseph did get the first one for free. in the treasure
he
digging,
tried
but-
to. And
I'm
one of
just
the more
saying.
famous ones, I won't get into like the Nates and the Danes, but there's a really famous Freemasonic story that comes up about this, and it's that there were two people on opposing sides of the Civil War, and they encountered each other on the battlefield, and one of them made this particular sign when it looked like he was about to get taken out, and the other Mason that was pointing his gun saw this sign and basically gave him quarter and like hid him and protected him, because that link between Masons was supposed to be far deeper than any kind of political sides would have pitted them against each other. And that the reason too that I think that in the same way that when Mormons came up, they didn't know internet was going to come out. Maybe the printed book, that was a way that you can kind of pass knowledge around, but no one expected so many exposés to come out and say, here's the handshakes, here's the sign, here's the secret password, say this. So then as soon as those books started getting published, all the power behind all that stuff is just gone immediately, because now like any Tom, Dick, and Harry can go into a courtroom and start throwing hand signs, and everyone just gets out if you know the secret sign. So
But-
it kind
And
of got
yet,
like,
the president
okay.
still does it when the president of the church and the president of the
it's
Mormon
just
church meets
ingrained
the
in the
president.
genetic memory of the family line. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Bro,
And,
that's
but the
wild.
connection.
But
So
joke
that's
that
the
no one would
widow-
help the widow's son because they'd had it with his shit because he was boinking everybody's wives, and so nobody helped him because basically also he stole their ceremony and he gave it to women, which I don't think was a good idea at that time, because even now they have separate things for women with masonry. But Mormonism is
conflict about
masonry
it.
for the whole family, right? And so he stole all their stuff and they were pissed off, and I'm pretty sure that's why he still died.
But
So
but the connection was that Joseph Smith was in jail in Carthage, Illinois, right? And the Carthage Greys were the local militia. And they had like a couple hundred people on register, something like that. Joseph Smith and his town next door, we talked a little bit about earlier about the Nauvoo Legion, the original real Mormon Mafia. They were the largest. They were the largest military unit in the United States, official in anywhere, and they wielded that power. Well, they had like over 1,000 members, more armed Mormons. They had uniforms, they had weapons, they had ammunition, they had training, they had everything. And the rumor had gotten out that the Mormons are going to send the Nauvoo Legion over to break Joseph and hire him out of jail, which apparently was a credible thing. They actually were trying to do that, organizing to do that. And so the Carthage Greys come out and they decide, well, we don't have enough guys to oppose the Legion if the Legion really does march out here. But before they get here, we can just take that Joseph Smith out and bring justice on it, because he was in jail for treason. He was awaiting trial for treason. And so they they go over to the jail. And when they get there, lo and behold, Joseph Smith pops out into the hallway. He's not even in a cell, and they don't realize that he's in a cell, and he's got a pepper box in his hand. If you don't have a pepper box pistol, pulls it out there and shoots the guy in the face. And then they're like, okay, well, it's on. And so they open fire. They kill his brother, Hiram Smith, through the door. They just start shooting through it, and one of the balls just hits Hiram in the face. And Joseph suddenly realizes he's going to lose this fight. So he runs to the window to escape. He's got his boys are there. Willard Richards is in there. John Taylor's in there. There's a whole theory about John Taylor's is hiding because he's actually in league with the Carthage Greys. He's actually hiding. That's why he survived. Anyways, Joseph throws open the window, and the way the Mormons tell us, he looked out. He put his hands out the window and shouted, "Oh Lord, my God!" And then they killed him for that. They shot him, and he fell down to the ground. The truth is, he was saying, "Oh Lord God, is there no help for the widow's son?" Which is a grand hailing grand hailing of distress in Freemasonry. His father was a Mason. He was a Mason, got kicked out.
His brother's name was
knew that there
Hiram.
were
Is there no
Masons
doubt?
in the graves.
Yeah,
Let's be not
I
funny.
saw his
So
name
it's
was Hiram. That's funny.
Yep. There's a
His
lot
his
of
brother was
symbolism.
Hiram. This was Joseph.
I do a whole show on occult Mormonism and the occult symbolism and ties to Joseph Smith, who I do think saw something very similar story to Crowley, very similar story to Scientology with Parsons and Hubbard and all kinds of things. So this stuff is not new. There's nothing new under the sun. So anyways.
I'm really into the serial killer stuff. Is there any other serial killers you've researched?
Mhm. Oh yeah, there's a
It's-
lot.
yeah, it's
Jody
kind of their thing, man.
Arias. There's a lot of Mormon serial killers.
I
Let's
know.
see.
I'd like to look into that Ted Bundy thing.
Yeah,
That'd
yeah.
be interesting.
It's
Yeah.
very.
The deeper you get into it, the more interesting it
Yep.
is.
That's fascinating.
Joe and I have done all these shows on my Patreon too. We do Murders, Mormon, and Mayhem on the Patreon just because, you can talk a little more freely.
I put
like,
your
without
guys'
all-
links in my description too. So
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
love to do it.
Well,
I gotta
that's
look
actually
into my Facebook. Oh shit.
also that's a good spot to let everyone do some plugs here. So because it looks like there's a lot of people in chat that were cross pollinating a few different streams here. Everyone's asking where Tommy's channel is on YouTube.
Oh,
It
no.
probably doesn't exist
Okay.
right now. Or do you have a YouTube channel right now, Tommy?
Yeah, Tommy Truthful TV. Yep.
Yeah, well, give all your plugs, man. Tommy's a longtime friend.
Tommy Truthful TV, Truth Mafia podcast on Facebook. We just broke 302,000 followers. Shout out to all y'all. We're live right on there now. And Tommy Truthful TV on Instagram as well, which they got me stuck at 103,000. I can't believe it. Bastards.
Yeah.
And a bunch of
Yeah.
people were asking, what happened to Truth Mafia? Truth Mafia is right here. We're convening.
No, they're
at this
talking
exact
about
moment.
the YouTube channel that got taken down, though.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. That makes more sense. That makes more sense.
Yeah, they're not talking about us as an entity. Which one day they might try to hit us with racketeering, so we got to be careful. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Well, they already got Donut because he's a
Wow.
juggalo.
Yeah.
There you
No,
go.
but, yeah.
What's up, Donut?
Look,
Yeah.
guys. So let me tell you something. I looked into racketeering that they hit the real mafia with because my homeboy brought it up to me. He's like, Tommy, you better hope they never hit you with no mob shit. So I look into it, and as long as they don't make anything illegal that we talk about, they can't hit us with it. But if they ever would outlaw like speech, the stuff we talk about, then they could hit us with some racketeering shit on Truth Mafia, which is kind of ironic.
Wow. What
Yes.
a joke.
It's
Damn.
pretty crazy, but it was just a bunch of us content creators that work together, that cross promote each other, help each other out. Me,
Yeah,
Donut,
why not?
Paranoid American. We got some of the biggest names
Awesome.
in the game. So we only got one other girl, Heidi. We need some females in the crew.
Hey, I'm down for it. Yeah, hit me up.
Yeah, Heidi goes
Would love it.
hard, especially in like the Cabbage Patch thing. Like that would be an awesome one.
Well, you got the
Joe-
best women, Paranoid. I told Donut this the other day. I said he hangs out with some cool chicks. I don't know about the guys he hangs out with, though. They're a little different. But the women are on point. The other girl,
There you go. There you go.
the one I did, she was talking about astral projection and stuff. She's phenomenal.
Yeah, shout out. This is the Secret Society of Good Guys. Abby, Layla, and Cheney. You can find all of them too. If you look for Secret Society of Good Guys on YouTube, it's probably the quickest way to find them. And we're gonna start doing shows on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, so it'll be
Awesome.
accessible to a lot more people. We were doing them. We just did one last night, Fridays from like midnight to like 4 a.m. But it's for a small amount of people that are actually up for those lives. So yeah, we'll start doing those. You're totally invited on one of those too, Tommy.
Oh yeah, I would love to come on and talk to. Hey, can you send me the thumbnail for this, brother, please?
Yeah, I'll do it right now.
So I
And-
can add that to the video.
and- I want to give everyone a chance to throw their plugs too. Donut, you came in. Tell everyone where to find Donut. What the hell Donut's all about?
Oh, you can find me at illuminaticomic.com. I even
Oh, yeah.
got the link down below. Illuminaticomic.com. You sign up, and it's a project that Paranoid American and I have been working on, and it's going to release soon. And you go there and you sign up for that. IlluminatiComic.com.
Let's go.
And you can also find him under Donut Factory on all platforms. DOENUT. He's a little humble. He's not going to.
Donut.
Aw.
I'm the most
And-
humble person on the planet.
You are.
And he's
very-
wicked smart. He's wicked smart.
he's
Here you
one of
go,
the
Heidi.
best dudes.
All right. I am Heidi Love. I'm everywhere podcasts are served. I do have most of my people on Spotify. I only release on YouTube once a week, twice a week on Spotify because of censorship. So that's interesting. And I also have my own website, unfilteredrispodcast.com. And just check me out there, and Patreon for more murders and mayhem and Mormons with Exmo Joe. Exmo Joe.
Murder, mayhem, and Mormon.
Man,
Yes.
that's a great title, by the way. You should use that.
That
Thank
is
you.
that is that. That's right through the matrix, right there.
There
all
you go.
laugh
And
now.
occult Mormonism.
You laugh
Most
now.
of
How's your demographic with him not believing conspiracies and you more believing? That's
So we do that for Patreon only. That's my Patreon show. I just do a bonus show instead of cutting anything. And I do those twice a month with Exmo Joe. And he is on a completely different spectrum of the wave as me. And we get along great. And it's super fun. And we're silly. So
That's
but we
do
give
have a good-
lots of information. Yeah.
That's
We
really
get into Nazi Mormon connections. Like there's some stuff you don't even know. Like it's crazy. So yeah.
Yeah.
It gets fun.
Yeah. I'm about
Otherwise,
to come
I do
out.
occult Mormonism.
My boy in the comments that's flipping out right now about gray aliens, Colin. He's been following me a long time. He is obsessed with gray aliens. He said one saved his father at one point, so he gets so mad when I call him demons.
Oh,
He gets
oh,
You would-
man.
and
You guys would really go.
the more pissed I get him, the more I'm going to call it them. Just
Oh no.
You guys would really
boy.
go for an
One
episode
of the good
that Heidi
ones.
and I did- that Heidi and
Yeah.
I did on her podcast about the Visions of Glory book that Tim Ballard and Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow are all,
Zombies. Yeah.
this whole Mormon
We did-
cult. They're all about zombies, aliens, and demons that are striking you on the head until you go to the naughty
What to
websites. and
do.
like,
Naughty
yeah.
websites. We got
No,
Timmy
look.
Boys.
even the dude in the
Stevens,
news
Monica.
never seen no
Yeah.
gray alien. He probably
The whole thing.
didn't take his medicine for sure. And he thinks he's seen some shit. None of us know. Like I've never met a gray alien myself. Have you, Donut? Have you, Paranoid? I never seen one. So
I was at an Insane Clown Posse concert, and I'm pretty
That's
sure
where.
there was a gray alien there.
was
it
it
had-
a
I have made it.
or was it a real?
I have
It
I've
could
made
have-
a covenant never to reveal it.
Yeah, it could have been a person, or but
With a handshake.
it was weird. It was weird looking, whatever the thing
What
was.
about you, Heidi? Have you ever seen aliens?
No aliens, just a lot of weird stuff. in
I've
the
seen
Mormon
demons.
temple.
I've seen demons. And I've seen
Yeah.
that look very damn similar to what one of these grays are supposed to look like. So to
I
me,
felt like a ghost presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
told
hope
me
I don't
about
see one.
that.
I'll be scared.
I do too. At night,
Yeah.
I sleep with the lights on. Like I swear I
Oh,
do.
man.
Like, I can't sleep.
We
with
just
the lights out.
we had an interesting conversation about this with Heidi and I recently with an unreleased yet I think episode, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
about this guy Kevin Sullivan that I just did this 2-hour interview about Ted Bundy with. He told me about the time that this was like years and years after Bundy had been executed, and he did an interview with the guy who led the investigation, the Jack Mormon who led the investigation here in Utah. And he's like, I'll come out to Kentucky and I'll meet up with you. And he's like, okay, great. And he shows up and he's carrying a bag in his hand. And he's like, what's going on with that? And he's like, oh, this is the bag. This is Bundy's bag. And he holds it and he's got Ted Bundy's murder bag. Opens it
Murder
up,
kit.
pulls out the garbage bags, pulls out the tire iron. He pulls out the handcuffs. He pulls out the gloves. He pulls out everything, right? Anyway, long story short, he comes to the end of it. He's like, and he tears off one of Bundy's garbage bags, the ones he used to bury girls' parts in. And he hands it to him, and he's like, "That's a gift from me to you." And he had just walked out. Basically, the guy had walked out with all their Ted Bundy evidence. Just walk. He's like, the guy told me, he's like, right now the evidence closet in Salt Lake City for the Ted Bundy case is empty. He's like, I have it. This is it. And so, and he's like, hey, he says to me, he says, hey, send me your address. I says, my physical address, and he's like, yeah. He's like, it's something I do for friends sometimes, but I'm going to cut off a piece of Ted Bundy's garbage bag and send it to you. And Heidi, I told Heidi about that. She's like, you're not going to take it, are you? That's got all those girls.
Also, I told him you're going to hang it next to your probably temple ceiling thing.
Right. My excommunication letter. Yep.
Like I said, man, all Satanists start as edgy atheists, and all of a sudden you start collecting serial killer stuff, and one day you're gonna look around and be like, "Oh, I'm already a Satanist. I'm already surrounded by all of them."
My connection to Bundy really has nothing to do with it. It has to do with my Mormonism, though. That's the thing. Is that we can get into that whole story.
Well, Heidi and I did a podcast where I was Jewish, then I became a man at 13. And went through my rite of passage at my bar mitzvah, and then became an atheist. And I was this atheist all the way till 2012. A Mormon man did a prayer with me because I was dating his granddaughter at the time. And I went over for dinner, and they did a prayer in a circle. And it was like, Jesus, strengthen the food or whatever. But
strengthen the sinews.
I felt something though. I felt something. I was like, that was cool. In my atheist mind, I was like, that's cool. Like maybe it's just some sort of mantra or like affirmation. But then I got sober years later in like 2015 through the 12 steps. And I started to pray to God to remove my obsession to drink and do drugs, and something was lifted. So then I started to believe in God again.
Everybody can see that episode. Do not laugh, but you all can. Actually, it's episode 69.
Oh, nice. Anyway. Well, I just think that's an interesting story since we're on this podcast.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Mormons, atheists, and all that. And that has been part of my life story.
Yeah.
The true order of prayer, it works. President Nelson would have wished he knew that before they shortened it. They just changed all the Mormon temple rituals this last couple of weeks. So,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Again, they did?
Yep, they shortened it. They took out, so like there used to be a thing in the circular prayer. No, this is the endowment. They used to do this thing where they would pray in the Adamic language, which is the language that Adam spoke supposedly, and you would raise your hands above your head. This is only in the temple. And you would get around in a circle and you'd do this prayer, and then at the end they would do all the signs, all the Freemason signs, the funny hat dance as we used to call it. And then they get to the last sign, the highest sign in the Mormon endowment ceremony. You would put your hands up in the air, and then you would say Pele Ale 3 times. Pele Ale. And that was too weird when the Mormons tried to go mainstream, so they changed it to moving your hands straight down. You would say, "Oh God, hear the words of my mouth." Oh God, you'd say it 3 times. It was still like, this is still culty, guys. We're still culty.
And culty. The women would veil their faces. It was all
yeah.
I have a whole
and everybody does the secret handshakes, and the men. Yeah. The men all put their left elbow on a woman's shoulder, but then it's like there's like this whole thing about who the left elbow goes on the right shoulder of a woman, unless there's not enough, and then which case one man has to play a woman kind of thing. It's like, so anyways, it's like it's this whole weird thing. But they just this last week, it was last week or the week before, they announced that they had taken out the repetition. So apparently, I haven't confirmed this yet, but apparently it's that you only have to do, oh God, we hear the words of my mouth 1 time. And that's like
one time.
that and a whole bunch of other stuff that they just made it a little less redundant so that you can get out of there within an hour or an hour and a half.
Hours long. Yeah.
It was so long, and it was so culty and so creepy. So anyway.
Crazy. Joe, where
People-
can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm Hellfire Agency. Hell yeah. And you can find my website is hellfire.agency. There's no .com. The .agency is the .com. That's where the big, long, exclusive content is that I've been releasing as quickly as I can to those of you who may be out there, the couple of you who are actual subscribers. But if you're anywhere that podcasts are, look up Hellfire Agency Podcast. I'm there, including on YouTube at Hellfire Agency on YouTube so far until I get caught. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on, you guys.
Hey,
I'm glad to meet you, Tommy.
Heidi, get my
Yeah.
number off Paranoid American.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
make sure that you guys
awesome.
connect. That would be an amazing show. I'd love to be involved, even if it's just to laugh at whatever comes up.
No,
Yeah.
you'll definitely be on it, brother.
Sounds good.
I want to
Sounds
know
good.
too. For the
No, you're
the
always
point-
welcome too.
I appreciate
Cool.
that, and we've got conspiracy cinema coming too. There's a bunch of comments asking where's the next conspiracy. Like we've got them planned. We got a new format. We're switching it up,
It's
but
gonna be
it
way
hasn't
better
stopped.
the new format.
Ooh,
Way
Awesome.
better. So, oh, and guys, by the way, I'm gonna post. I got a 15-minute video. I'm probably gonna get in big trouble for posting it, but we're gonna see if it works. I'm gonna post it on Rumble. It's a screen recording of the new Crow. So I decoded it. The
Ooh.
part that I was telling y'all about. I'll upload that and let y'all see what I was talking about there. So
You gotta
far,
let,
I've been doing movie breakdowns on Rumble and haven't gotten in trouble yet. So, it's
Yeah.
a loophole right now.
cool.
Take
You guys
it.
got to let me know if you ever want an exclusive preview or review of Statesmen and Symbols, the
Paranoid wants it.
Freemasonry and Tim Ballard and Mormonism.
Oh, gone again.
Oh, he's kidding. Oh my God.
Where do they get that? Is that something you promote or something?
No, this is something I stole. I bought it from the Joseph Smith Foundation, which is the Mormon. This is the Mormon crew that actually thinks that the Mormon Church is being overthrown by wokeness, and so they're trying to save it by bringing people back to the true Mormonism and the true history of Joseph Smith. And Tim Ballard is their boy.
So they're saying
it's
he's getting overthrown right now by people that are able to think for themselves. Is pretty much what that is.
right, but that's not the way they say it. As you
Right.
aware.
But let's be honest. I think all, and I'm a firm believer in religion, freedom of religion and expression. But some of these places like Mormonism and Scientology, it seems they shun people for if you don't want to be involved. That's not right.
Yep.
But thank you for having us on, Paranoid. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having a weird
everyone
atheist.
coming,
like
man.
me.
I'm glad you hit up in the comments. This turned into a way more lively show than originally planned. So I love this is why I love doing live streams way more than pre-recorded sometimes, because this doesn't happen in a pre-recorded show. It couldn't have, because those exist in like a little bubble. So I love the chat.
Right.
Everyone was killing it with the interactions and jokes and everything. I love everyone in the chat. Make sure you go into the description and follow everyone that's linked here, because we all got completely different variety of topics. And as you can see, like when it all comes together, we've got awesome conversations that come out of it. So it wouldn't be possible without everyone that was on this panel today.
Awesome.
Thank
you.
for having us, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys. So I'm going to play us out with a brand new commercial for a brand new thing. You'll probably see, if everyone here wants it, you'll be involved. But you'll see a donut card. You'll see a Tommy Truthful card, an Unfiltered Rise card, maybe a Joe card. You got to come to Jesus first, Joe. Then you get a card.
Oh, Joe.
I'm out.
You got to come. Oh, come on, Joe.
Before we go,
I don't know.
Joe, next time I see you, I want you to look into Gnosticism, the Apocrypha of John, and then come talk to me about Jesus. It might make you look at him a whole different way.
I
fix
know
you, bud.
quite a lot. I would like to do that actually, because if anybody knows of any debates, anybody's looking for atheist debates or any debates over early Christianity, I'm in. Any debates about Mormonism, I'm in. I'm ready
Let's
to be
do it,
the
dude. I'll set
atheist
it up.
debater.
I'll set that up for sure, man. I know
Uh-oh.
some pretty hardcore Christians that would
Not
like to debate.
Isbell. Not no.
I feel like I gave as good as I got with that debate with Jacob Isbell, and
I
then
thought it
I
was
think
good.
maybe got
Yeah.
some. I think
You know what, though?
I'm going to say I won that debate.
That one
I'm
never
pretty with it.
felt. I watched that episode, and I guess maybe I just didn't know the context going in. It didn't. It only turned into a debate. It never really seemed like it started as a debate. It kind of like
Right.
evolved into one. So I think I would love to see like
Who was it
if
with?
two people
Who
going
was it
in.
with?
Jacob
Jacob
Isbell,
It's on my
huge
channel.
friend of the show.
Joe's channel.
Jacob, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. We've all
Sorry,
called
Jacob.
Joe a horrible heathen Satanist multiple times now. So he's the
I'm
bad
into
guy.
it.
But the best debates are the ones where they can have a friendly conversation and no one gets their feelings hurt. You know.
Well, that was
Right.
the thing is
I think it ended that way.
we did it as a conversation where it's like, let's just all agree we disagree on these points, because his position is that Joseph Smith was never a polygamist, which is it's just absurd. And I felt like I gave it to him pretty well. But the idea was, look, let's all just give and take a little bit and just come away as friends from this. And it got heated in the middle, but at the end I feel like it came off well.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, it happens.
Okay.
I've had heated ones with me, Paranoid Donut. They make for the best shows sometimes.
Yeah.
So everyone tune in for the next show. We'll stir up some shit, and then we'll cause some debates to happen. Even if it doesn't
There
need
you
to, we're just
go.
make it happen. All right, y'all. Thank you guys for coming again. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me.
Peace out, brother.
The Prince of Darkness loves you.
Look, you're gonna have to move fast. Conspiracy cards from Paranoid American are here.
Conspiracy cards, flip it, what's the deal? Conspiracy cards with that paranoid seal. Pack it, unwrap it, truth in these stacks. Flip one, flip two, get a few of these packs. Flip it up, what's next? Move fake, we flex. Bigfoot in the woods, they lying, that's facts. MK Ultra, no cap. Every yacht 51 is a trap. Roswell crash, what's that? They hide the truth, where's that? Conspiracy cards, flip it, what's the deal? Conspiracy cards with that paranoid seal. Pack it, unwrap the truth in these stacks. Flip one, flip two, get a few of these packs.
That's right. Conspiracy cards from Paranoid American. A set of over 200 cards featuring legendary conspiracy theorists, cult leaders, esoteric secrets, and more. For more details, visit conspiracycards.com today.
Spread the word with propaganda packs, all for just $40 shipped at paranoidamerican.com.
Paranoid propaganda packs. We got facts on these sticker slaps. So grab yourself a stack and go attack with these paranoid propaganda packs.
These huge all-weather slaps will last in public for years to come. Remind citizens that birds are not real. Self-immolation is an option, and might make you magnetic. Do your part and get a propaganda pack today from paranoidamerican.com.
Yeah, paranoid propaganda packs. We got facts on these sticker slaps. So grab yourself a stack and go attack with these paranoid propaganda packs.
What are you waiting for? Go to paranoidamerican.com right now and get a paranoid propaganda pack.
Paranoid. Yo. I scribble my life away, driven to write the page. Will it enlighten your brain? Give you the flight, my plane, paper the highs ablaze. Somewhat of an amazing feel when it's real, the real, you will engage it. Your favorite, of course, the lord of an arrangement. I gave you the proper results to hit the pavement. If they get emotional, hey, maybe your language, a game, how they playing it well without Lakers. Evade them, whatever the cost, they are the shapeshift. Snakes get decapitated, met is the apex. Execution of flame you out, nuclear bombs distributed at war, rather gruesome for eyes to see. Max them out, then I light my trees. Blow it off in the face, you're despising me for what though? Calculated and rather cutthroat. Paranoid American must be all the blood smoke for real. Lord, give me a day away, vacate. They wait around to hate whatever they say. Man, it's not in the least bit. We get heavy rotate when the beat hits, so thank us, you're welcome. Fuck the niggas for real, you're welcome. They ain't never had a deal, you're welcome. Man, they lacking appeal, you're welcome. Yet they doing it still, you're